Delta Airlines, Bash's, Food City, Pepsi, Budweiser, and Guinness.
Jeffrey O'Brien here, and congratulations. You just made it through the hottest summer in Arizona history. No lie. The only proof you need is in that electric bill. If you don't have solar, I wonder how bad it's going to get next year. You need to call Harman Solar today. Harman Solar could save you over 80% off your electric bills. They're a locally owned, family-owned company. Call Harman Solar for a free estimate. 800-281-3189. That's 800-281-3189, or go to harmansolar.com.
Are you ready for your passion to meet your purpose? The city of Chandler is one of the best-run cities and best places to live in Arizona, where people express their passion through collaboration and teamwork as we serve our community of innovation. Come to Chandler, where passion meets purpose. Visit jointeamchandler.com for our current openings. That's jointeamchandler.com.
This message is sponsored by the City of Chandler.
Going to college and not acquiring debt is possible with the help of the U.S. Army. You'll be able to choose the career you want and receive help to pay for your full tuition. There are also reimbursements for student loans and GI Bill benefits. In the U.S. Army, your mission will be to learn. Learn how you can be all you can be at goarmy.com/AIA Sports. That's goarmy.com/AIA Sports.
Hey, Ralph, got another solar question for you.
Okay, but did you check out the Harman Solar podcast first?
The what?
The Harman Solar podcast. We put new episodes up twice a month that teach you all the things you ever wanted to learn about solar. We discuss things like how solar works, the roofing, sales process, demand management, everything solar.
Show like this needs some real smart thinkers, huh?
Well, yeah.
So you got some really great guests then, huh?
Almost every show.
Is it on Spotify?
Yep.
iTunes?
Yep. Just search it everywhere. It's the Harman Solar podcast. Go check it out at harmansolar.com.
Live from the Harman Solar Studios in Scottsdale.
Here we go.
This is KQFN Tempe. Also transmitting on K25CD Phoenix at 99.3 FM and K240 U Fountain Hills at 95.9 FM.
All right, people, settle down because it's time.
Time for what?
Showtime.
When does it start?
Right now. 3, 2, 1.
Let's get on with the show. Let's do it.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Daily Blender. It's Friday, so we're nearly done with the work week, and I'm not joined by Jeffrey, obviously, because he does the intro. I'm joined by Ralph and Neil from the Weekend Warriors. I know that Jeffrey still wants Ralph to be Ralph from Harman Solar, but with Neil here, it just feels weird to go. You're Ralph from Harman Solar. You're Neil from the Weekend Warriors, as though you're not both on the same show. It just doesn't work.
Thank you for fixing that. I appreciate that.
I mean, look, you can't say fixed. It's broken. It's not a permanent thing that's happening here.
It is. It's now official that you've done it.
So either this show, depending on really not how you feel about me and not how you feel about Neil, but really how you feel about Ralph, is either the best show that's going to happen this week or the worst day of your life. I don't know. I have no idea.
I vote for the latter.
It just depends on, whether or not, it depends on how you feel when Ralph talks, essentially. Because Ralph's polarizing.
Oh, and Ralph is your radio nemesis? Is that right?
Wow. I mean, I don't think we officially have ever said that, but it might actually be true.
I think so. I like it.
Can I fire you on our show from this show?
Yeah, you can. That's fine.
I've fired you every week. So
that's true. But then no one else wants to do this with you, so you keep coming
back.
It's true.
I worked at a radio station one time, and I'm not even kidding. I got fired like 3 times in a week, and the guy forgot every day that he fired me because it was just an impulsive. He's just a very impulsive human being, and so he would just get mad. And the closest person would just get fired. So he'd just come in, stick his head in my office and go, "You get out of here." So then I'd leave. And I came back the next day and he just completely forgot that he did that, said any of those things.
I think he might have been drinking.
Maybe. Definitely the worst job I've ever had in broadcasting. Anyway, we have a lot of stuff to get to today. And we're going to have a lot of fun with it. Again, depending on how you feel about Ralph, it's just really, really the crux of this whole thing.
Wow, we're really focusing on this,
Is
aren't
that
we?
I'm just saying, I noticed that the people get out there for you. I'm working on getting the text line up as we speak. So,
I'm glad you're getting it up.
You are the fulcrum, the linchpin, if you will.
Oh wow.
You are the apex, the center. You're the alpha and omega, the begin. Never mind. I'm not gonna do that.
I'm gonna just leave now.
That's fine.
All right. So before we jump to the text line, and we do have some people filing in, we've got Hefty Lefty, we've got Mr. Wilbur, we've got we've got Pierre. That text is in French.
You have to do that. You have to do the accent.
I don't think I can.
You have to.
Well, there's nothing that says I have to. I am not contractually obligated to do the
Breaking
accent.
all the rules.
Do not have to do the accent.
I'm not breaking the rules. There aren't rules on this show. I think
I'm calling Jeffrey.
This entire week
What are you gonna
should have been
call
100% clear that there are no rules on this show.
Yeah, that's. I would say for that Wednesday show.
Yeah, that Wednesday show
was
when
off
we
the rails.
I mean, just a long alligator breakdown
Yeah.
that lasted an hour of
An
that
hour
show. I
talking about alligator.
couldn't believe it, but also it was fun.
Yeah.
So
About an
anyway,
alligator.
Yeah, that's a long
yeah,
story.
Wow,
we can't
okay.
even. I can't
Never
even.
mind.
The backstory that it would require to fill you in on all of that, I can't. We just don't have time. The show is only 3 hours long, and a lot happened. So if you were there, you were there. That's just really what it is. If you know, you know. So the Suns and the Mavs played last night. We're going to get into that. We're going to get into a little bit of Cardinals free agency talk because that's right around the corner. Monty Ossenfort, the GM of the Cardinals, has talked about wanting to be aggressive in free agency, which is smart. There's a little extra money to spend too in the NFL. So we're going to get into that a little bit as well. And then just a bunch of NFL news and notes if we can get there, but we'll see how it goes. We'll start with Hefty Lefty on the text line, though. Hefty Lefty says, can we start with the dumbass of the day? The Coyotes player that decided to film his booger sugar exploits.
Yeah.
Cherry on top is that he full on put his face in the video. Sure. We can just go ahead and award him the dumbass of the day. I hadn't planned on doing one. So Hefty Lefty, congratulations. We found him. We found him. That's really stupid.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got him.
That was really stupid.
Yeah. Why?
Take a picture with cocaine in the background, dude. Good job.
I mean, yeah, it's just it's a.
You'd think by now with social media, people, even, especially people younger than us, would at least understand, like they get the bit. But apparently, when you're under the influence of booger sugar, maybe you don't.
Maybe you don't, but it's just like presumably you started to do that before you were high, so you were just dumb before,
Right.
And then by the end of it, you're both high and dumb. That's pretty much how that works. Mr. Wilbur says, "Can I steal Big George's thunder?" TGIF. I mean, I wouldn't exactly call that thunder as such. You can get that shot off though, because Big George isn't here to do anything about it just yet. He just dropped in on the text line. Well, actually, wow, that's Big George's text from yesterday, so maybe not. My problem that I'm having here is I don't know if I have the translate button for this, so I'm trying to get to Pierre's text.
Wow. Because you won't commit to the accent.
I'm not going to.
Not commit to the accent.
Yeah.
I'm simply not going to do that. So, all right, Pierre, I'm going to get back to you. We're going to have to go. I'm going to have to do what Jeffrey used to do and put it in Google Translate and then translate it back into English. Berg said, alligators, Tim Tebow. We meant literal alligators, Berg. I think you're giving us way too much credit for talking about the Florida Gators. No, we were literally talking about alligators and whether or not they're scarier if they have clothes on as opposed to if they don't.
That doesn't sound interesting. What the? Oh man, whatever was going on.
Yeah,
in that show.
I like I said, none of us planned that. It just sort of happened that
You sure
way.
there weren't any Coyotes players in the room while you were doing that? Because
might be one.
What do you do? We were smart enough to keep our faces out of the video though.
Yes,
so
exactly.
The moist one says the real deal, brains of the weekend warriors, Neil. So
Here we go.
Here we go.
There we go. Minute 7. Boom.
You knew it was going to start.
Minute and 7 into the show.
And I accept the fact that it's less about me and more about anti-Ralph. It's like It's like in Minnesota. You're either a Vikings fan or you're an anti-Packer fan. There's a lot of anti-Packer fans. So, I'll take the compliment nonetheless. Thank you very much.
Jerk.
The hefty lefty also said, also the idiot left his American Express up on the screen with his card number visible. I wonder if he's canceled the card yet. I don't know if he's canceled the card yet. That's insane for just so many reasons. I don't have much more comment on that. Cause I didn't look too deeply into that story. I just where else do I go with that? Doing cocaine. It's really bad. Doing cocaine on camera is worse, and it's illegal. And now you've shown everybody what you're doing. I don't know. The Coyotes need to somehow get themselves away from this dude as quickly as humanly possible.
It's illegal. You might get a ticket for it, man.
Hurry Harry says, hello all, TGIF, go Seahawks. I've started my rusty nail.
Nice.
That's a drink.
Yes,
okay.
it is.
All right, there you go. I don't know my cocktails very well.
Well, the Rusty Nail is either a drink or it's a strip club. So, I mean, one or the other.
That sounds like an awful
Could be a
strip
drink
club.
in a strip club.
Oh, that's gross.
That sounds
Okay.
like an awful
Could be
drink in an awful strip
Could be a
club.
dancer
Yes.
in the strip club.
I wasn't commenting on the
Well,
quality,
the quality of the strip club. Correct. Yeah, no, just when you said it, it just made my skin crawl. All right.
Yeah, and go Hawks.
The Berg said crocodiles are better than alligators. Debatable. We're not going to go down that rabbit hole one more time. You're not going to derail us.
They're trying.
Segment 1, Berg, will be derailed. Don't get this wrong. It's
Stay on
impossible.
target.
If
Stay on target.
if you interact with the text line, you are eventually getting derailed. However, we're not doing this segment 1. It's not happening this fast.
It's already started.
The moist one said, I was just pumping the tires on Neil. Leave it to Ralph. Where moist one? Where are we going with this?
Why are you pumping anything on Neil? He's married. He's got to take care of.
Oh no. He said, leave it to Ralph to make it about him. So what?
It's not about me. I never said that.
Ralph. It's all about you, Ralph.
taking shots at Ralph and Neil right off the bat, as I don't think any of us are surprised by that. I think that this is pretty straightforward, what we all expected. So let's go ahead and get to the Suns and Mavs playing last night, because the Suns go down to the Mavs 123-113. And mediocre. I just they lost to another good basketball team. I don't know that makes you mediocre.
I remember yesterday we were talking about it, and all you guys would say was how, especially Jeffrey, was how the Mavs just can't beat the Suns.
I'm pretty sure he said that in the playoffs, the Suns have consistently kicked the Mavs' asses, which is true. So yeah, they played, and there's some good and some bad in the game. The third quarter, I think, is probably on my bad list. The way that third quarter started was just you start. Was it like a 12-0 run to start the third quarter? It's always a bad look when the Suns play like that, because it's a lot of the predictable stuff with them. It's a lot of the turnovers. It's a lot of kind of isolation basketball. I guess we're all going to stand around and watch Devin Booker dribble the basketball. Like there's just stuff that happens over the course of the game that I thought overall the Suns played a pretty good game. But that stretch in the third quarter is right about where they lost it, and they never really got back into it. I thought the first half was really good. I thought they shot the ball effectively. They were good on the glass. They out-rebounded the Mavs. I thought that they were tougher in this matchup than I've seen them in previous matchups with the Mavericks. Like getting physical, especially in the paint. Devin Booker was, initiating contact, putting his shoulder into guys. Like, that's all the stuff I like to see. But when you have a third quarter like that, and then all of the bad Phoenix Suns habits pop up, the giving up second chance buckets, the Mavs had some shots where the Suns played good defense. The Mavs missed the bucket, and then they're not rebounding with any sense of urgency at all. So then the Mavs get the rebound back, and they're out of position. They're not able to play really good defense. And I thought Kyrie Irving did a really good job of taking advantage of stuff like that. And that's just a gigantic problem that at this point in the season, like, you got to start reducing that. Like, you're after the All-Star break, heading into the All-Star break, not going to worry. this is what the season is for. But now's the time to get those habits cleaned up, those bad habits cleaned up, and really start making some kind of a run here.
Man, you've been saying this all season. You realize that, right?
I'm consistent, man.
You've consistently said the same thing about them all season, and consistently they are still making the same mistakes.
Yeah, I mean,
look at Durant last night. Did you see his game? 9 of 22. I mean,
yeah, it was a bad shooting
points. I mean, he had a bad shooting night.
But that's really the thing is that's not the norm for him either.
Well, you get good defense in front of you. It happens sometimes.
But like a lot of teams, if we did a show in Milwaukee and I was doing a show about the Bucks, like I'd be saying the same thing about them constantly. They have the one weakness.
Right.
So like that's the reason why when you asked me yesterday, do I think that the Suns could contend for a title? I don't know, because it depends on what the matchups are. There are matchups in the Western Conference with the Suns that scare the bleep out of me.
Yeah, they won't get past the Clippers.
If they run into the Clippers, right?
Yeah,
because there are matchups for the Clippers that if you're a Clippers fan, you're looking at some other teams in the West and you're going, I don't know if I want to run into Denver ever.
Agreed.
Don't know that Denver wants to necessarily run into Minnesota. Like there's a kind of it's not direct, but there's like a rock paper scissors thing kind of going on, where if you're the Suns and you happen to run into the Kings, that's great. Do that. And then I don't know what to make of the Thunder, because I don't know that they're really good, but they're so young. I don't know that that's a team that scares me because they lack the experience.
I mean, I look, you know how you get a feeling about a team where you say, yeah, this team just feels like they're a championship contender, like they could win the title.
Yeah. I
don't get that feel from them. The only team that actually gives me that feel really right now is Boston. And I hate to say that. But they do. They give me that feel of these guys are going to be really tough to beat.
I remember, and they are. I think Boston is probably one of the more well-rounded teams.
I mean, and their record shows it, and their stats show it. I mean, they're just solid.
Yeah, I think that there are sometimes games where you just Jason Tatum bad shooting night, and then that's it, or Jaylen Brown, bad shooting night, and that's it. And I still want to see Jaylen Brown in the playoffs, because that's where he falls apart.
Right.
Regular season, Jaylen Brown's going to give you, the stat line's going to look great. He's going to have highlights. He's a good player, but his thing is always the playoffs. Can we get the best of Jaylen Brown in the postseason? But yeah, I think the most well-rounded team, that's the Boston Celtics. I just think in the West, because of how loaded it is, it's going to just come down to, are you hot at the right time? And do the matchups favor you? Mm-hmm. And that's not necessarily the case in the East, because if you're Boston, I don't know if you really even have to worry about matchups.
I mean, for me, I feel like in the West, you have three teams. Like I feel, surprisingly that I say this, I feel Minnesota they're just having a year, right?
Yeah.
I'm with you on the Thunder. I just think they're too young. And I think the playoffs, I don't see it. I feel the Clippers are that team, and I feel the Nuggets will always be that team because they have what they have, right? I feel like those three teams are where it's going to come down to. I don't feel it about Dallas. I don't feel it about New Orleans. Phoenix, to me, again, I feel like they're mediocre. I feel like they're middle of the pack. I don't see it with the Lakers. I don't see it with Sacramento. So Golden State, with me, is a wild card because they're kind of weird, but I don't think they're going to be a contender. But you never know if they get hot.
Yeah, I think with the Suns, what's going to have to work out for them is they're going to need to get the right matchup. They're going to need to be healthy. And then because they're a jump shooting team, they have to also be hot.
Right.
You don't get to cool off in the playoffs in a way like the Nuggets can be cold shooting, because the way that they play, they can just go inside to Jokic and let him figure everything out, get shots for other people, because he's such a good passer from down low. So that's all of the stuff with the Nuggets that just makes it so that they're not necessarily heat check proof, but they don't need to be as hot a shooting team as a team like Dallas would need to be, or Phoenix would need to be. And Dallas is really interesting because I think that they are kind of a mirror image of the Suns. They got turnover problems too.
Yep.
They don't exactly take care of the basketball either. And if Kyrie or Luka aren't there, they're screwed. And I think that the Suns feel the same way, where it's like without Beal, Durant, and Booker, they need all three guys on the floor. This team will absolutely struggle in the postseason without all of those guys healthy. And then it's not just enough to have those guys out there. You've got to be able to shoot the basketball and shoot it at a high level. And the Kevin Durant 9 of 22, like we saw last night, that can't be a common occurrence in the playoffs. Now, I have more confidence in that. I don't see Kevin Durant do that back to back often,
True. That's true. I agree with you about everything. I guess the only other thing I would say is the only reason I'll even put the Lakers in the conversation is because of LeBron and AD. LeBron and AD decide they want to get going and they're getting ready for the playoffs. They can make a difference like last year. And next thing you know, boom, they're in a conference championship.
Yeah.
They are that good that they can take a team on their back like that.
Yeah. Like you don't have confidence in the Kings, the Suns, or even your Lakers. But I just think that if the Suns, Kings, and Lakers, if those teams get the right matchup, because if LeBron and AD are healthy and they don't have to run into Denver, because I just don't think that's a great matchup for them. Because I think a lot of the stuff that Jokic does makes Anthony Davis deeply uncomfortable.
Yeah,
like if they don't ever catch Denver in the playoffs, like, yeah, the Lakers can go to a Western Conference Finals and really push for a finals. That's why the West has just been a ton of fun to watch this year, because I honestly can't tell you who's coming out of there.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's
so yeah, but like a crapshoot where it's high quality and not, watching the NFC South. That was a crapshoot too, but nobody enjoyed it. I can tell you that. So okay, no, the Berg just said crocodiles are better than alligators. That's not helpful. Mars Bars 805 says go Lakers. Walter Mellon says mediocre. Calm down, Ralph. The Lakers just lost to the Warriors.
Okay.
Yeah, without LeBron, Walter Mellon.
Yeah. Calm down, Ralph.
It's just to me, like people will say, that's an excuse. You're using injuries as an excuse. Like, no, there are 5 guys on the floor.
Right.
Injuries are legitimately a reason to be unsuccessful.
I mean, if that's an excuse, Phoenix has been using that excuse all year then. So
yeah, but like I've been really consistent with that. That's a legitimate reason.
You're consistently excusing it. I agree.
Well, it's not an excuse because I'm even saying it about the Lakers right now.
No, I agree.
If Anthony Davis isn't out there, that's not the team I'm talking about.
Yeah,
if LeBron's not out there, that's not the team I'm talking about.
I love the arbitrary comparisons. Well, if Ted Williams wasn't dead and was frozen in time at 34, he would have the batting champion. Like, whatever.
Like the whole thing with the NBA is that we're all focused on the playoffs.
Right.
So yeah, it matters if a guy is injured now because that doesn't tell you what they're going to do in the playoffs if they're healthy. Mm-hmm. If they're not healthy, well, then that's your answer.
Yep.
So that's what I'm trying to figure out with the regular seasons. Just take it game by game and then use the information I've got to try and predict what's going on moving forward. Mars Bars 805 says, happy faded Friday, fellas. And I'll take an 805, Ralph. Happy spring training season. Go A's and go Diamondbacks. So
I love 805.
So Mars Bars 805 agrees with Ralph on the Lakers. But
I just heard 805 and I love it. That was the one thing I look forward to moving out here is actually being able to get 805 on a regular basis. So,
okay.
I'm a fan. Just thought I'd throw it in there.
I thought you're an alcoholic. Okay.
Well,
I mean, if you're on this show, you've got,
you are
there's a high probability. High probability.
Yeah. And the Irish part doesn't help either. Ralph's right.
That's a good point. All right. So we've got that down. We're going to get into a little bit of GCU basketball next. We're going to talk some Cardinals. We've got JJ Redick and Doc Rivers and the beef that they've got going on. We haven't really gotten into that at all. So we're going to get into all of those things moving forward here on the Daily Blender. I'm Keon, joined by Ralph and Neil of the Weekend Warriors. And hold on, let me get that beer here for Mars Bars 805. There you go. There you go. And this is the Daily Blender on 1580 The Fanatic.
This is Brent Musburger's action update on 1580 and 99.3 The Fanatic. Get insights into the sports betting market with VSiN's betting splits. See where the money is and keep updated on how the market is reacting. Only at VSIN.com. Now, here are the latest lines from my guys in the desert.
NBA, the Phoenix Suns continuing their Texas road trip tonight. They're in Houston to take on the Rockets. Phoenix is coming off a loss in Dallas on Thursday night, but they're a 4-point favorite tonight in Houston, minus 180 on the money line, while the Rockets are plus 152. The over-under tonight at 233.5. The Suns are plus 1,400 to win this year's NBA championship, and they're also plus 750 to represent the West in the NBA Finals. Denver's Nikola Jokic is the betting favorite to win this year's NBA MVP at minus 115. I'm Tony Desiri with your VSiN Action Update on 1580 and 99.3 The Fanatic.
Hi, I'm Henry Winkler. My eyes are very important to me. My eyes connect me with everything I love. I loved my late father-in-law dearly. He always lit up a room, but his vision dimmed with age. He had age-related macular degeneration, or AMD. And since partnering with Apellis, I've learned there's an advanced form of dry AMD called geographic atrophy, or GA. His struggle with vision loss made me want to help others know about GA's warning signs. For some, colors appear dull or washed out. For others, hazy or blurred vision make it hard to see details, like fine print on price tags. Many have trouble seeing in the dark, making driving at night difficult. GA gets worse over time and cannot be reversed. If you think you have GA, don't wait. Treatments are available. Ask a retina specialist about FDA-approved treatments for GA and go to GAWon'tWait.com.
Hey, Jeffrey O'Brien here. And listen, Phoenix has had over 53 days of 110 degree plus this summer. This last July alone, we had 30 consecutive days of 110 plus. And this summer heat might just be the new normal for summers here in Arizona. What you need to do is call Harmon Solar today. Harmon Solar could save you over 80% off your electric bills. They're a locally owned, family-owned company. Call Harmon Solar for a free estimate. 800-281-3189. That's 800-281-3189, or go to harmonsolar.com.
The Valley of the Sun will roar to life this spring.
This ought to get pretty wild here.
Why is that, you may ask? Because NASCAR is coming to Phoenix. And it's going to be a weekend of good vibes the whole family won't forget. The best-in-class fan experience meets racing's toughest drivers for 3 days of action on and off the track, all surrounded by the beautiful Estrella Mountains. NASCAR weekend at Phoenix Raceway, March 8th through the 10th. Get your tickets now at phoenixraceway.com.
Do you know about 211 Arizona? It's a free service to connect you with resources anywhere in Arizona. Housing assistance and eviction prevention, transportation and ride services, healthcare benefits, food resources, and even utility bill support. Talk to a live operator in English or Spanish, 24 hours a day, every day of the year. Just dial 211 or visit 211arizona.org. Get connected, get answers, and get the help you need. This message is sponsored by 211 Arizona.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Ken Barkley here, reminding you to check out You Better You Bet. Why, you ask? Well, because we bring the fun, the insight, and all the wagertainment you need. Plus, hopefully, we win a couple bets along the way. From up-to-the-minute breakdowns of backdoor covers, bad beats, and the cheers and tears that come with them, obviously. Plus, betting analysis from some of the best minds in the sports wagering world. Join myself and Nick Costos and tune into You Better You Bet. Weekdays from noon to 3 on Arizona's sports betting station 1580 and 99.3, The Fanatic.
Welcome back to the Daily Blender. I'm Keon Rose, and I'm joined by Ralph and Neil of the Weekend Warriors. Big George did, in fact, notice, and he had something to say here. So let me jump back down to where Big George was. I don't know why. The text line just didn't update George's text until the middle of the break for, I don't know what reason. It's still saying his most recent text was a day ago, even though I'm looking at the one from 3:04. I don't get it, but here we are. Big George says, hello, Keon and Ralph. No Jeffrey, no Randy, and now Neil Armstrong on the show? No, George. Sounds like this might be the new Daily Blender. So nice to see spring training games on TV, enjoying the Chicago Cubs and the Chicago White Sox game live from Mesa. Go Cubs. Glad you're having a good time, George. Not Neil Armstrong.
I was named after Neil Armstrong. So that was intentional by my parents.
Okay, fair.
So when people say that, it's like, I was named after him. It's okay.
I thought you were going to say your mom got with Neil Armstrong or something. I was like,
that would have been even cooler. Are you kidding me? That would have been fantastic.
We don't want to hear about that.
Not my dad, but whatever.
Yeah, I think your dad would be the one person in that story that would not appreciate it at all.
Oh, I don't know. My dad.
There's a cool, you know what?
Oh boy,
not to take it off the rails.
Too late.
But there's a cool fact about Neil's dad.
Oh yes.
What
talk about it? I think it's pretty cool.
So my father raced in the Indianapolis 500 in 1949. He was 8th position, 3rd row middle. His qualifying time was 127 miles an hour, which is funny because I think my Yugo can go 127 miles an hour now. He had the distinction of having the shortest lap in Indy history. He crashed in the first turn of the second lap. So he obviously he was out. And here's the best part
Kind of
about
like Aaron
that.
Rodgers' career at the Jets.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
Well, here's right, exactly.
Right at
Blew
the
his
starting
ACL.
line. Yeah.
Here's the best part is that year they were filming a movie called The Big Wheel, starred Mickey Rooney, and they had a fictional character participating in the 1949 Indianapolis 500. So they actually had film crews there, and they were filming the race. And my dad's crash is in the movie. So now not only did he mess up his one time there, it's now preserved for all of posterity. So it's
your family's failure is on video.
Yeah, exactly.
Awesome.
In fact, it's on YouTube. You look up George Lynch Indy 500, and like the first or second video is my dad's crash. So there you go.
I told you you'd like that fun fact.
No, that is that's hilarious, man.
It's actually pretty cool.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. Yeah, no, that's a great story.
There is if you go to the Indy 500 Hall of Fame, there is a giant plaque in the very front in the opening area, whatever they call it, the greeting room, the foyer. They have the name of every person who's ever raced, just the first time. Obviously, like AJ Foyt and others, a bunch of times. Yeah, no, it was over a lap, dude.
Oh,
no,
okay.
but my dad's name's on there. So hey,
that is cool. I mean, honestly, that is really cool. I think that's pretty.
That's the thing is like when you get to do something at a very high level, even if you fail, it's still kind of cool.
Yeah, you got there. Right.
It's like because most of us aren't even going to get there. You know what I mean? Like there are people who would love to drive in the Indy 500 that will never see it.
Yes.
So that's awesome.
I'm actually there. I have an outside chance I might actually attend the 500 this year because it would be the 75th anniversary of my dad's running.
Oh.
So that'd be kind of cool. So we'll see.
They're gonna make you pay double for your seat or what?
Probably.
Yeah.
They're gonna be like, hey, you're George Lynch's kid. You pay triple.
You jerk.
As these things tend to go. So I translated Pierre's text from earlier. I will still not be doing the voice.
Come on.
You know, Ralph, this is a long damn text. I am not doing this voice.
You're an expert in voices.
I am literally not. I remember one time I did a voice and then Randy and Jeffrey just looked at me like, ew, never do that again. So no, thank you. Will not be doing that. Even though Big George has asked for it a couple of times, not happening. So hello guys, it's a solemn Friday here in Montreal for us Montreal Canadians fans, as Jean-Guy Talbot passed away today at the age of 91.
Oh.
He was one of the greatest defensemen of his time and won the Stanley Cup 5 consecutive seasons while he accomplished the feat from 1956 to 1960. Talbot also won the Stanley Cup 2 other times with the Canadiens in 65 and 66, winner of the Stanley Cup 7 times total.
Wow.
So I'm not all up to date on my hockey history, but that sounds incredible. And
they were incredible. And he was a big piece of that. So that's a shame. 91 though, that's a good life.
91's a good life. Like if most of us get to 91, we're good with that.
You don't want me to get to 91, but yeah, I mean, I think 91 would be good.
Yeah, rest easy, Talbot.
Yeah, he was
rest easy,
legend.
my friend.
Why wouldn't we want you getting to 91?
Because I'm this bitter at 57.
No, that's
Could you
true.
imagine at
Okay,
91?
that's
Well, to be fair, you've been this bitter your entire life since I've met you back in 1992. So yeah,
wow.
Yeah, it's just gonna get worse, Keon.
Yeah,
Seriously.
no, he makes a strong argument there. Strong argument. So the moist one says, George, are you listening to the Daily Blender at the Cubs game? Are you wearing headphones in the front row like Steve Bartman?
Bartman.
Oh boy, are you going to really give him the Bartman tag?
Bartman.
Moist one. That is mean, and you know
That is
why.
kind of mean.
That's like the worst thing you can call a Cubs fan. Yeah, well, you're a Steve Bartman, and and that is moist one. Come on, man. Come on. And then moist one says it's okay. They broke the curse. Are you
Hi, everybody.
Are you sure? Okay, so I mean, they did break the curse, but I don't think that anybody wants to be called a Bartman still because they could have broken it sooner. The Berg hell-bent on derailing this show. He says alligators, clap, 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 clap. Exactly 5 claps. I'm not.
What is that? A haiku clap? What is that?
I'm not entirely certain. Berg, what are you on? I need an explanation.
What are you on?
Very,
You
that's true. Don't ask questions you don't want to know the answer to. So before we get to some of this GCU stuff, because it's
ugly.
It's ugly. It is ugly. I want to get to one more thing about the Suns game, which was the hecklers in the front row. You know, the Suns were going into the arena, and then one random lady just shouted out to Kevin Durant, "Bitch!" And he turned right around and walked over to them, and it was one of those, oh, we didn't realize that the 7-foot tall guy that we were shouting at was actually going to do something about it. And so he comes back and he confronts him about it. Not in like a mean way, but he's clearly like, why are you saying that? What makes you think that that's okay to say? And I think the wife was just like, it was a husband and a wife, or a boyfriend and a girlfriend, couldn't tell. But the wife was drunk. She just gone. She was toast. Wasted is one of the words we used yesterday for one of the many ways you can say drunk. She was done, but he realized what was happening, and so he tried to de-escalate the situation. And at one point near the end of the conversation, he says, just the mic picks him up saying, "Yeah, I have a sports podcast." And at that point, Kevin Durant just walked away, did not engage further, but he did go back to make sure that they didn't get thrown out of the game. So,
well, that was nice.
Yeah, because I think that there is a way to handle that. And I thought Kevin Durant handled that about as well as you can. But like, people have got to stop going to games and thinking that the people that they're yelling at aren't people.
I feel like looking at that guy, the name of his podcast was Confederate Sports. I don't know why. But that was, did you get that feel just looking at them? Right?
Confederate Sports.
Oh, yeah. This guy looked like he was a hardcore racist, man.
The South will rise again.
I mean, I didn't have that thought immediately, but once you said it, it's funny. It's funny.
When you think about it,
when you put it together, yeah. Because he was somebody that was just, I don't know what he thought was going to happen, but I know he didn't believe that Kevin Durant was actually going to address him and call him out on it. And I do think that a lot of athletes do get, sensitive about stuff. And then somebody says something that's like Luka, the other day before the All-Star break, had some people tossed out of a game. And then he came back later and was like, yeah, maybe I was a little too hasty with that. So you go, all right, well, that's not okay. You can't do that. But I do think that there is some level of, when the player comes back to confront the fan, that kind of makes that person more real all of a sudden.
She's like, oh crap, he's coming around.
And he's big. Yeah. Like NBA guys are gigantic.
Actually, Ralph, that gives me a great idea. We can use that strategy to get interviews for the show. You and I can go together to games. You can get totally wasted and then call somebody out, get really loud because you're good at that.
I don't need to get drunk to do that.
That's okay. That's fine. Whatever. That'll just save us some money. Anyway, you call them out. When they come over to confront, I'll be like, excuse me, sir, I have a podcast. I'd like to get you. I'm on the Weekend Warriors. I'd like to have you on an interview sometime, sir. I think we could do that.
I think I'll get punched a lot.
Super effect. Well, you're good at that.
I'm good at getting punched.
I've seen it once.
Yeah, you have.
Yes.
So the Moist one says, while we're on it, can you change my name to the Moistest Alu? No.
That's a good one, though.
It is a good one.
I like that better than Moist one.
I like the Moistest Alu.
That should be his baseball season name.
That's like that's a good Chris Berman name.
We'll take that up with Jeffrey when he gets back, but Jeffrey doesn't generally allow for text name changes, and I'm not going to get into the text machine here and change anything around because that's just going to be a problem.
Hey, Moist, when I have access to it tomorrow, I'll see.
Wow. Oh boy. Kum says Nurkic was god awful yesterday. Well, that didn't help. And that's the thing, is like there's somebody on this team needs to be physical. And usually that's your big, but that's not Nurkic. Like, he's just never been that guy. And I don't think it's fair to ask him to be that guy. When you traded for him, you knew he wasn't. You were trading away somebody who was not that either, but at least you get effort from Nurkic. You get, movement. He's able to make passes. because he's always looking for people who are cutting. He's able to, work his way around the basket. He's good at spacing. He understands when he needs to be in the paint, when he needs to get out of the way so that either Durant or Booker can get there. Like, there's a lot of stuff that Nurkic does really, really well. But yeah, if he has a bad shooting game, he's not really tough. And so he's not going to be the person that's going to, set the tone physically or really help you out in a whole lot of other ways, unfortunately. That's just the way this team is constructed. It's one of the weaknesses that they have. But I dare you to find somebody on demand that's better than Nurkic right now. Like, I just,
Yeah.
Kum said he's a massive cells. He airballs one footers. I don't know if that's the case. I mean, he has some shots that are bad around the rim too, but the fact is, he can shoot the ball. He provides space, and that's important. And he's also saying, bring back Biyombo. Kum, no. Where is Biyombo? He's so great. Where is he? Like, every fan here loved Busy, and I did too, but like, as a bench guy, he's not a starting center because he's not a starting center anywhere right now. And there's a reason for that. He can't shoot. Like, he's great rebounder, energy guy, gets to the basket, grabs boards, hustles. But you take Busy and move him 6 feet from the basket, and you have somebody on the floor can't help you.
I don't know if I've ever said this before, but the Suns need a center.
It's been stated. It's been stated by you,
you're
by
right?
Randy.
And
Yeah,
that's the reason they won't get a ring. They don't have a center.
it sucks with the Ayton stuff because, I mean, you have to do everything else at a high level.
Yep.
To win without a center, because the Warriors have done it. Like, Andrew Bogut wasn't like elite center, but he was good enough to get the job done, and they were great at so many other things that they were able to win with Andrew Bogut at center. Andrew Bogut is playing in Australia, I think, right now. So just like that's I'm serious. Like, that's not even a joke. Like, he seriously, that's where.
No,
it is.
that's what's funny.
But yeah, like that's what I'm talking about. Is like, if you have a weakness in one place, you have to make up for it somewhere else, and that's what the Suns are trying to do. And with Nurkic, can you do better than Nurkic? Yeah, but that's going to be another offseason to try and figure out. They just didn't have the time to figure it out right now, and clearly the answer wasn't bring back Ayton, because he's in Portland wasting away on a team where they're going to let him shoot 25 times a game if he wants to. He shoots 12 times a game. Like, that's the effort. That's the energy that he does not bring at all, that you at least have with Nurkic. I don't see why you're going after the guy. I just don't. If someone is going out there and playing the game the right way, and you know what their limitations are, I don't see the point in cutting somebody down unless they are awful every night. And Nurkic isn't awful every night. He was just awful last night, which happens. Like, you play 82 games. You're not going to be great in all 82 of them.
That's sports.
So, yeah. So, speaking of teams with an off night, how about the GCU Lopes? We have to. We are the flagship station of GCU basketball. So, unfortunately and sadly, yeah, we've got to get to it. GCU went to Texas to take on Tarleton State, and they lost to the Texans 77-74. So GCU falls to 24-3 on the season. Tarleton State improves to 19-7. But what's crazy in the game is that GCU had the game, I don't want to say in hand, but had they continued to play basketball really well in that second half, they would have won the game. Instead, they blow a 14-point lead, and like there just didn't appear to be answers for anything that Tarleton State was throwing at them. Ja'Cory Smith for Tarleton State just went absolutely bananas, had 24 points.
Yep.
It was one of those games. It's unbelievable when you look at the box score. GCU is up 35-22 at the half. Then Tarleton State has a 55-point half to just bring it back around, and I have never seen this from GCU. It's not that I've never seen GCU lose, because they've had seasons where they've been up and down too since I've been here. But a game where there were a couple of guys, because the other person that I wanted to mention too for Tarleton State was Devin Barnes. when you have two guys that are scoring in the 20s, that's a problem. And so like GCU had that as a major issue, playing defense against those guys, and maybe some weaknesses that they needed to patch up there. I think, and Randy kind of agrees with me on this too. Like, it's just always good for a team to occasionally lose a game really badly so that you can refocus and not get too cocky moving forward.
But Charleston State, they're real. I mean, in the WAC anyway. They're what are they, a game and a half back now? I mean, they're right there.
They're a few games back, but that's just because of how good GCU's been this year.
Yeah.
Tarleton State's been awesome. Yeah. They're second in the WAC. They're the next best team, and they played like it. And it was a physical game, and I don't think that the officials were bad. I don't think GCU got screwed. I think in the second half of that game, Tarleton State came out and said, we're tougher. And that was it. They just decided we're not going to give up anything around the basket. And GCU started relying on jump shots, which is not their game. They started to go outside of what they do when the pressure got on, and they lost it.
I mean, yeah, they're only they're 12-3 in conference. GCU's 14-2. I mean, they're right there.
Yeah, they're right there. Granted, I know how they rank things in the WAC. It's like a net rating thing, not just pure record. So that's going to factor into it as well. But just know that moving into the WAC conference play, the WAC conference tournament, there's a team that's going to give GCU some trouble, and they can't take that lightly. It's not going to be a cakewalk all the way to the NCAA tournament. Keep an eye out for the Texans of Tarleton State. So anyway, we've got a whole lot of stuff to get to. Got a lot of NFL coming around the corner. A lot of cap space for a lot of NFL teams to spend. So I want you to send me on the text line if you are a fan of any NFL team. Your team might have $30 million of new cap space. Who do you want your team to go out there and get? I'm interested in what that is, and we'll talk about what the Cardinals are going to do as well. This is the Daily Blender on 1580 The Fanatic.
My brother-in-law died suddenly, and now my sister and her kids have to sell their home. That's why I told my husband we could not put off getting life insurance any longer. An agent offered us a 10-year, $500,000 policy for nearly $50 a month. Then we called SelectQuote. SelectQuote found us identical coverage for only $19 a month, a savings of $369 a year.
Whether you need a $500,000 policy or a $5 million policy, SelectQuote could save you more than 50% on term life insurance.
For your free quote, call SelectQuote at 1-800-452-5050. That's 1-800-452-5050. Or go to SelectQuote.com. 1-800-452-5050. That's 1-800-452-5050.
SelectQuote. We shop. You save.
Details on example rate at SelectQuote.com.
When it comes to covering the high school sports scene in Arizona, AZ Preps 365 has all the answers. Every Saturday morning from 8 until 10, they break down games, interview the newsmakers, talk with coaches from around the state, and stay up to date with what's happening with prep athletes and breaking news from the Arizona prep scene. It's AZ Preps 365, 8 till 10 Saturday mornings on 1580 and 99.3 The Fanatic, and always on at 1580thefanatic.com.
When you wake up well-rested on a great mattress, everything becomes clear.
I do make everything about me.
Things you missed when you were tired finally reveal themselves.
That meeting could have been an email.
It's the President's Day sale at Mattress Firm. Save up to $500 on select Tempur-Pedic adjustable mattress sets and get a $300 gift toward pillows and more, all with free and fast delivery. The right mattress matters. We'll find yours. Restrictions apply. See store or website for details.
Our Chandler Police benefit from serving a supportive community. That strong partnership equips our police with the support, training, and technology needed to keep our city and employees safe. Our sunny skies and active lifestyle offer personal and family time for the desired work-life balance. Find your fit with the Chandler Police Department. Learn more at jointeamchandler.com. This message is sponsored by the City of Chandler.
Going to college and not acquiring debt is possible with the help of the U.S. Army. You'll be able to choose the career you want and receive help to pay for your full tuition. There are also reimbursements for student loans and GI Bill benefits. In the U.S. Army, your mission will be to learn. Learn how you can be all you can be at goarmy.com/AIA Sports. That's goarmy.com/AIA Sports.
Before becoming a professional announcer, I took the announcer oath, which forbids me from misleading listeners.
Just wrap your heads around the reality of that.
That means I speak the truth when I say
You can listen to us on your smart speaker.
just say, listen to 1580 The Fanatic.
Welcome back to the Daily Blender here on 1580 The Fanatic, live from the Harman Solar Studios. I'm joined by Ralph and Neil from the Weekend Warriors. They're on tomorrow at 10 in the morning. So go ahead and check them out as well. You guys had an interview with a wrestler. That's correct, right?
A
ASU
wrestler. That is correct. Yes. ASU sophomore wrestler Jacob Meisner will be joining us tomorrow on the show. We had a pretty good interview with him. I don't want to give away too much, but the thing is, I have known him and his family for years. He's a Minnesota kid. He went to the same high school that my kids went to, and he's now here at ASU. And he's not having the best season right now, but let's face it, he's a sophomore. This is the time when you take your lumps, and I think the future is bright for him. So, like I said, great interview. Hope everybody tunes in, and also too, if you don't get to listen to the show tomorrow, we will post the full interview on our show page sometime this weekend.
Yeah, so that'll be on the 1580 The Fanatic website. So check that out. We're going to jump back to the text line, clean that up a little bit, and then we're going to jump to some free agency talk because there's a bunch of news rolling in from that.
Before you do the text line, you're forgetting one thing. After our show tomorrow, there is a huge event.
Well, I wouldn't say it's a huge event, but
huge.
It is an event. It is the debut of my show.
That's right.
Without Interruption with Keon Rose, where if you you like some of the thoughts that I have, but you wonder if I'll ever actually be able to finish a sentence, there's a place where I can do that, if you could imagine that. So
Without Interruption, that's actually that's like the most passive aggressive but amazing name ever. I love that.
And it didn't even occur to me. Jeffrey was the one that Jeffrey was the one that
he never
named
lets you talk, so it's perfect.
Jeffrey is self-aware, if anything.
Yeah, so he knew exactly what was going on there. So yeah, I've got the opportunity to have my own show. The Blender's really quick. We go through a bunch of topics. We bounce around on stuff. And I kind of want to slow down a little bit, kind of get deeper into, we have games going on. Let's get deeper into what actually happened. Or we have, free agency. We've got the salary cap to be concerned with. Who do you go after? Who's realistic? And like really get into the weeds on some of that stuff. So I'm a nerd. It's a nerd show. If you're nerdy about sports, I'd like you to join me if you want to. So
absolutely.
That's going to be at 11 tomorrow. Though I don't know what the podcast situation is there. We haven't figured that stuff out yet. So
so on behalf of the Weekend Warriors, congratulations, Keon. This sounds like it's long overdue, and I look forward to listening to your show. Because unlike the Daily Blender when Ralph is on, I think I'll learn something.
Thanks, Neil.
I'm literally 2 feet from him right
That's
now.
exactly what I was about to say.
And I do carry.
Yes, he does.
So that's how I know you guys are friends, because
but hey, we've just made Saturday mornings better for everybody between our two shows. So
yeah, we're kind of like what's happening. What's happening, Ralph? We're the lead-in for Keon. That was the plan all along.
What was it?
We're your doormat. We're the ones. It's like we're the Super Bowl. We're gonna get the Super Bowl on CBS so that after the Super Bowl, you can watch the premiere episode of Chicago Fire PD ambulance, whatever.
That sounds right.
Whatever.
I think
show
we're the preview show. He's the Super Bowl.
Well, I think
see,
so.
Now
I can get with that.
I see what's happening here, and you're not going to slip this past me, putting all the pressure on me, so that people tune into my show and go, "Wow, they really oversold that. This guy sucks." That's just I don't need those problems. Here I am trying to just go ahead, tune in if you want. You guys know if you're missing this, you're missing the Super Bowl.
You're missing the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I think we should make sure we shout out at the end of our show tomorrow. Be like,
we will hand it off.
Stay tuned for Without Interruption, or something like
That's
that.
right. We will definitely do that.
Yeah,
Like
well,
an-
look, I appreciate the kind words, you guys, but it's not the Super Bowl, but hopefully it's
Okay.
fun and we'll get to
Grey
talk
Cup.
about it.
Grey Cup.
The Grey
It's
Cup.
the
Oh
Grey
wow,
Cup.
that's obscure. Yeah,
So people will only enjoy it if they're Canadian.
it's the
Um,
it's the Phoenix Parks and Recs regular season title. How's that? Is that better?
No.
regular.
Somehow it's worse. I don't know.
Yeah, somehow it managed to become even more obscure. I don't know. I don't know. By the time we're done, the show is basically just going to be some guy shouting at another car in a parking lot. We're just lowering the bar more and more and more. So let's get to the text line here before we get completely derailed by our nonsense. So we'll let the fourth dimension derail us instead. So Screaming Eagle says, "Happy Friday, Blender. Will the Suns be able to keep Durant?" And I don't see why not.
Yeah.
He's under contract for a couple more years. Oh boy, I just saw a text from Moist one that distracted me, and it's not good. So, yeah, yeah, no, I think the Suns will be just fine keeping Kevin Durant. You know,
he's not going anywhere.
yeah. You got the soft salary cap in the NBA, so Matt Ishbia seems fine paying the luxury tax. I don't see what the problem would be keeping Kevin Durant. Big George says, question for Ralph Romano, 1580 the Fanatic. Big George, okay, well, we'll see.
right.
We'll see. When should the Coyotes fire Andre Tourigny?
Oh,
This guy
jeez.
is a joke, and the Coyotes have now lost 11 in a row. What gives?
Again, I unlike the King situation where you had a ton of talent there, it's not a young team, and the coach was just miserable. It made sense to fire him. In this scenario, you have a really young team, a really young base. They've done a good job of putting it together. I think you ride your way with this guy. You're not going to win the Stanley Cup this year anyway. Go through the end of the season and see how they're able to get out of this tailspin and what happens with that. And then you make your decision after that. I wouldn't get rid of him yet. I don't think it's time. I think you have to understand the team that you have on the ice, and I think there's a good future, a bright future for the Coyotes in Utah, and we'll see what happens.
Oh, man.
Did I say? I'm sorry. Did I say
Yeah,
Utah? I didn't
yeah.
mean that.
Oh no,
Oh,
that
no.
was just an accident.
That was an accident.
just
No,
a
but I really
very-
do. I think they have a bright future. I like what they've done and what they're putting together there. Let's ride this guy out the rest of the season and see what happens. Now, if they can't get out of this tailspin the rest of the year, then yeah, you got to let this guy go. But I think he will.
Yeah, and they're young. Like that's the other thing with this Coyotes team is that they're still building, and they're better this year than they were last year. They started a whole lot better this year than I think anybody even gave them
absolutely
credit for. So if you're going to be happy for the way that they start, if they kind of fall back towards average a little bit, that's I don't know that you're necessarily firing somebody for that. Yeah, they need to get back on track, but you know that's we're not in fireable territory yet, Big George.
Not yet. And I am worried honestly about the Utah thing. I really hope that doesn't happen. I would hate to see the Coyotes leave Arizona.
I do think it's incredible restraint for Big George to simply ask if someone should be fired
Usually just says
rather than shouting in all caps that someone should be fired.
They'll get out of it in the next couple of games, Big George. Just hang in there.
So Flappy Max says, "What am I listening to?" Flappy Max, I don't know. I really don't know.
You're listening to perfection.
Well, it's definitely not that, but you are. It's a thing. We're doing a thing on the radio.
Daily Blended.
It's the Daily Blended.
That sounds like a good drink.
It does actually. Which means if you ever try to sell a drink with that name, Jeffrey will sue you. Pineapple Express says, "No Randy, no Jeffrey. We have Neil and Ralph. Sounds like the Daily Blender should be renamed the Weekend Warriors." But it's Friday. That's not a weekend.
Look, it's a
Express.
weekend every day with us on the radio.
That's right.
Goodness. All right. Gordon Fisherman says, "Is the new show Keon going to be called Every Rose Has Its Thorn with Keon Rose?" No. The Moist one says, "You had me at Get Deeper." I know, and I'm already sorry about it. So anyway, we didn't get to any of the stuff. We're officially derailed now. Daily Blender 1580, the Fanatic.
Texting enrolls you in recurring automated marketing text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
Leaving for the gym so early?
I'm ready to go.
Since you started taking Nugenix Total T, you've been acting like when we met in our 20s.
I feel like myself again. Lower testosterone after turning 40 slowed me down. Nugenix Total T has been a game changer for me.
What is it about Nugenix Total T that's different?
Well, it's a patented key ingredient called Testofen. It boosts free and total testosterone to help you get back the drive and energy from your youth. It's backed by 5 clinical studies.
I've seen the huge difference it's made for you in the the gym, at work, and in the bedroom.
I'm so glad I sent them a text for my complimentary bottle. Text Maine to 42424 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T. Nugenix is the #1 selling testosterone boosting brand at GNC and Walmart. Do it now, and we'll also send you a bottle of Nugenix Thermo X, our newest, most powerful fat burner ever. Absolutely free. Text MAIN to 42424. That's Maine to 42424. Products and statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease or illness.
At Bet365, we don't do ordinary. We believe that every sport should be epic. Every basket, every game, every point, every play, from the moments that are legendary to the ones that fly under the radar. Whether it's a three-pointer at the buzzer to tie the game, or a player goes 2 for 2 at the foul line. Whatever the sport, whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365.
21 plus only. Must be physically located in Arizona. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, wants help, call 1-800-NEXT-STEP or text NEXT-STEP to 53342.
For John's 60th birthday, his family planned to drive down Old Route 66. But the trip took a detour when his wife got sick with RSV. It's a highly contagious virus that can lead to breathing problems and hospitalizations.
This year, we don't want to cancel our plans. We're protecting ourselves with Pfizer's RSV vaccine, Abrysvo, respiratory syncytial virus vaccine.
Abrysvo, a vaccine to prevent lower respiratory disease from RSV in people 60 years and older. It's not for everyone and may not protect all who receive it. Don't get Abrysvo if you've had an allergic reaction to its ingredients. A weakened immune system may decrease your response. Most common side effects are tiredness, headache, injection site pain, and muscle pain. For full prescribing information, please call 1-844-989-7284 or visit abrysvo.com.
So don't wait. Ask your pharmacist or doctor about Pfizer's RSV vaccine, Abrysvo, because every breath matters.
I'm an Arizona truck driver. I deliver food, medicine, supplies, and hope.
And during times of crisis, I support our communities. But every day I see people putting lives and families at risk.
Distracted driving is deadly, period. Be aware, be safe, and visit sharetheroadaz.com and find tips on how to drive safely around trucks.
This message is sponsored by the Arizona Trucking Association Foundation.
KQFN Tempe.
Also transmitting on K25CD Phoenix at 99.3 FM.
And K240U Fountain Hills at 95.9 FM.
All right, people, settle down.
Because it's time.
Time for what?
Showtime.
When does it start?
Right now. 3, 2, 1.
Let's get on with the show. Let's do it.
Welcome back to the Daily Blender. We're broadcasting live from the Harman Solar Studios here in Scottsdale on a Friday afternoon. And I tried. I held out as long as I could. Well, we are in the process of being derailed because that's just how this show goes on a Friday or a Wednesday now, apparently. But we're not going to get back into that again. I'm joined by Neil and Ralph from the Weekend Warriors, and appreciate you guys coming on today.
Absolutely.
And
Anytime.
Joining the show here. You guys are on from 10 to 11, and then I have a show that's starting on Saturday as well.
Dun, 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 dun.
Without Interruption with Keon Rose from 11 to noon. If you want to hear me without interruption, I think it's pretty straightforward.
We need to do a duo promo. Your Saturdays just got better with the Weekend Warriors.
I think so. That's a good idea, actually.
We need to record that.
Yeah, we'll all be in the studio tomorrow. So we probably
10 to noon.
You don't have to sleep in anymore.
From 10 to noon, you've
got things to listen to.
You can yell at me at 10, and you can talk common sense with Keon.
That's right. That's right. It's like dessert before the meal.
I'm getting
no pressure, Keon.
Yeah, no. Let's just keep adding more to me. Why not?
Yeah, absolutely.
The moist one. Why? He says Neil and Ralph is usually what I do at the toilet after getting too squeefed, by which he means drunk. Moist one.
I've heard Neil and Bob.
That was funny.
Yeah, you're Neil and Bob's
Yeah.
what I do. I've never heard that before ever. That is so original. Moist
funny,
one.
though.
So
Neil
great.
No, moist one is genuinely funny when he's not being gross.
Yeah.
So let's see. Big George says, thank you, Ralph and Keon, for that insightful, well thought out explanation for why Andre Turney should not be fired. I actually agree. Let's see if he can get out of this funk and reevaluate. Just disappointing when 2 months ago, the Coyotes were in a playoff spot and were playing great.
Yeah, we get that, but you have to expect that with youth, unfortunately. It's going to happen.
Yeah, it is disappointing. Like I understand that, but you know, part of the rebuild and being a fan during a team that's rebuilding, and I've been a fan of a few, is just understanding the process and where you are in that process. If you're a team that's been rebuilding for 5 years with the same front office, it might be time to look for a new front office. But if it's only been, 2 or 3 years, you're still at that part of the process where you're not what you're going to be just yet. Pineapple Express says, Ralph, I really enjoy your show on Saturday. I look forward to Keon's show as well. Will there be any talk of the Harmon Solar on your new show, Keon? And the answer, of course, is because I'm not a solar expert at all, but also not a fan of puns. That's a 2-minute, my friend. Pineapple Express. I don't want to hear from you until 4:05. Thank you, sir. Bruno Baller says, guys, the whole 10 to noon thing, it didn't even give me the thinky wheel. It just decided not to do it. Just
wow, what did he say?
Yeah, the text line just said no. So, all right, let's go ahead and give this a second shot. Guys, the whole 10 to noon thing will work until college football starts. I mean, and then what? You're done, Bruno Baller?
That's it. Listen to us then. What?
We're out. It's just college game day comes on, and
what if we give you updates?
Because we can do that, just because we're a radio
have
station.
the technology.
You can still watch the game,
and you're not going to
listen
miss
us.
like the primetime games that are on,
Right.
a little bit later. Like if your team is on, well,
You're going to miss Colorado State. Who cares?
Yeah, Appalachian State, and Troy State. Yeah,
So,
South Dakota State plays, University of St. Thomas in a parking lot somewhere in North Dakota.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Georgia State and Vanderbilt. It's like
Yeah, there
you're
you
not missing a whole lot. So Stockton Slap says, better to be in the process of getting derailed than in the process of getting railed. Truer words, Stockton Slap. That's not the way I would have worded it, but I'm not going to say that you're exactly wrong. I guess.
I feel like there needs to be more context.
I really don't think there needs
I
to be.
I know. I think we got all the context that we
Just,
need.
if you ask for it, he'll give it to you.
Yeah. So to be clear, Stockton Slap, thank you for your contribution to the show. We're not asking for any more context.
If you want Neil's text number, we'll give you.
We give it to you personally, and you can just go ahead and send that to him. Heavy Metal Maniac says, let's just say that I was born in 67. The Phoenix Suns started in 68, and I've never seen a title and no comments for Ralph about the Lakers. Well, yeah, but the thing is, like, they haven't been rebuilding since 67. They've gotten themselves, as competitive as they can get in one regime. And then when things weren't getting done, you got to start over. Like, that's just the cyclical nature of it. Look, I understand where you're coming from, Heavy Metal Maniacs. I am a Wizards fan, and despite the fact that the Wizards have in fact won an NBA Finals, I was like 11 years late in existing for that. So that just I didn't actually see it, and so it doesn't.
You missed that. You missed the Commanders when they were good.
Yeah. They won one when I was 2, so obviously I didn't see that one. Yeah, no. So all of my teams from like early in my life either won a championship or 2 before I was born, which is the same as really not having one.
I was so funny. I was thinking about you earlier. I saw this list of the most losses in the NFL over the last 20 years, and the Commanders were number 5 on that list.
I'm not shocked.
I was like, wow.
I'm not shocked.
Yeah, and right away I thought of you.
Neither am I.
It's just like Dan Snyder, what he did to that team. I don't think that people quite realize that aren't from that area just how bad he screwed that team over, and the fan base that's all anybody ever talked about when I was a kid. Like the way that people talk about the Packers and their season tickets, and like you want to get season tickets, you get on a list and you wait your life basically. It used to be that way in Washington. I remember that when I was a kid. And then a few years into Dan Snyder's regime, I think it was pretty clear to everyone, oh, this guy has no idea what he's doing. And now, if you want season tickets, I mean, you could probably, I mean, they're not free, but there was a point there where you could basically get it for a can of soup. It wasn't
free with your paid subscription to Sports Illustrated. Oh, they're gone too. Never mind.
And don't feel bad, Cardinal fan. You guys were number 10 on that list. So.
Which,
just saying.
Still, I mean,
who was the last on that list?
I don't know. I only saw like the top 15 or so.
You can only count the two scoops.
Might guess the Patriots probably.
Oh, the worst team that you want to know? The team with the most losses was the Browns.
Also, not surprising.
Not surprising
because the Browns had like an 0-16 season.
It was Browns, Raiders, Jaguars, Lions,
the Jaguars
with the top 5.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. Hefty Lefty says they probably beat ASU right now. Wait, hold on. I missed a couple of texts from him before. He says, don't disrespect the South Dakota State Jackrabbits, current back-to-back FCS champions.
Jackrabbits.
They'd probably beat ASU right now. That was the whole text.
You know, it's funny. It's funny you mentioned that because Minnesota would play South Dakota State, and they actually beat them once, and then they played them a bunch, and they got really close. So it was always the running joke. And when I was living up there, that Minnesota. I mean, doesn't matter how good they are, they were going to lose to the bleeping Jackrabbits. So, yep, no, that's a real thing. I was being silly, and that was the only name I could think of. But I do think South Dakota State is a really good program. And in fact, if I recall, they won the FCS championship that just happened
this year. Yeah, that's not hard.
Yeah, they're a good program.
Yay,
they are, and they produce NFL guys too. That's like
yes, they do.
Yeah. They put guys in the league.
I they have more ball boys in the NFL than any.
Oh my god!
I have an NFL take. Yay for me!
There you go,
so
Neil.
Excited.
NFL take.
I don't know if I call it a take.
Whatever.
You know what? It's an opinion. It's a thought. It's
something.
It's something, and it's more NFL than I thought we were going to get from Neil. So thank you, sir. Thank you. It's just because I've never heard you talk about it. It's not that I don't think you can.
I live to serve.
Oh boy. Anyway, Bruno Baller says, being in the Big 12, isn't there a chance that ASU and Arizona have a chance on being on at 10 a.m. this year?
I guess it's possible.
I mean, I can definitely understand that, but I don't think it's going to be all the time because obviously you got to play all the home games here.
Yeah, but that's a good point because I feel like that, ASU and Arizona are new to the conference, and so the schedulers are going to put them at the really bad times. Like, you get to, it's a 1 o'clock game or whatever. So
you will get more out of our shows than you will watching those games.
That's exactly right.
And hey, look, if all else fails, you could do what Big George is doing and apparently just take the show with you to the game. Big George is watching the Cubs right now in Mesa and listening to the show.
Love that. That is fan loyalty right there. You can't buy that. You can't market that. They're going to listen. It's kind of like my buddy in high school in 1984 during his 9th grade graduation. His dad had a mini TV and was listening to Game 7 of the Lakers Celtics World Series during his graduation.
NBA championship.
What did I say? The World Series?
Yeah.
I'm so baseball minded right now.
It was that's the time of year that we're at.
It was like Game 1 of the Super Bowl. It was amazing. No, he was listening. He was watching the NBA championship. I remember. And the best part was after the graduation ceremony, none of the parents went to their kids. They all went to my friend's dad and stood around. And he had his little TV and he was watching. I remember seeing that scene where the Celtics fans stormed the court at the end of the game when they won it all. I remember watching that on a little black and white TV and a group of parents. All these kids are standing around like, why aren't you saying congratulations to me? It's because they're watching the game, kids. So good stuff.
I would have thrown that TV. Freaking Celtics.
I know.
I am in the process right now of translating a text from Haruto. Okay, here he is. Haruto says, hello, Mr. Rose, Mr. Romano, Mr. Lynch. I like the new format of the show. I have a question for Mr. Romano.
Yes,
Did
sir.
you see Shohei taking batting practice this morning? He'll be fine once the season starts. I'm looking forward to the Dodgers this season. About 120 wins?
I have seen his batting practice, and I love his swing. He looks so good. He looks ready to go right now. I mean, obviously, he's getting close. 120 wins. I think the over-under is 103.5, which is the highest in the MLB. 120, I think, is asking a lot. I don't see that happening. but I think they'll be around 105, 107 wins if things go correctly. 120 would be crazy. I don't see that.
Yeah, I mean that would just be insane. Like at that point, if you win 120, just go to the World Series already. Like you get to skip the playoffs. That's just
bypass.
Caruso, you got to remember too. Walker Buehler is not going to start the season on the roster. He's probably going to be 30, 60 days out. Kershaw doesn't come in until August, so you're going to rely on some of the younger guys. So no, I don't see 120. No, that's insane. As crazy as I can be, sometimes I can't be that crazy.
I just like how the Dodgers had this very interesting pitching rotation where you've got a bunch of guys that are good now, then we're gonna weave in some Dustin May and Buehler and Kershaw over the course of the season. Then we're just gonna throw Ohtani in next year. So yeah, I'm not curious. I have said this before, and I know the first week I bashed Kershaw.
Yeah,
I'm just
did.
not a fan.
I'm still not past that, by the way.
Oh, I understand that. You will get over it, but I guess to show that I'm a reasonable person, I do think that the way that they're going to try to bring Kershaw back in will probably be successful. Because I remember, was it a couple of years ago or was it last year? I don't remember when they played in Minnesota and Kershaw was on his way to a perfect game. And they pulled him. It
was 30 degrees.
I have never heard Dodger fans, and there were a ton because Pantone 294 showed up to the Target Field, and I've never heard fans more vicious at the Dodgers and Dave Roberts because they pulled him. But now I understand why. Apparently, there's been stuff going on. Anyway, I am super nervous as always about the fact that everybody's talking about it. We're all talking about, hey, if you win enough games, just skip the Super Bowl. There I go. I mixed the analogies again. Go to the World Series, but ultimately, they've still got to prove they can, win a meaneful series. I'd like them to do that first.
Okay, you've said enough.
Get to the NSCS, man.
Just can you edit out his last couple of sentences?
I really can't. I mean, I physically can, but it just wouldn't make the show would not make sense.
Like it does now.
It would make less sense.
It's like editing The Sopranos to be on PAX TV. Like it just doesn't work. It's like 7 minutes.
It's just you're missing just major parts of the story for every episode you're watching. Big George says, Ralph, congratulations on the Dodgers' victory today over the Padres. I watched the game and the Padres looked pretty pathetic. But let's wait for the Dodgers to face the true class of our National League West, the Arizona Diamondbacks.
So I would say don't congratulate anybody on a spring training win. First time.
Ever.
It means nothing. But you are right. I think the Padres are going to be in for a long season. I think they're going to have it rough. So, and you know what? Couldn't happen to a nicer group of guys.
Yeah, I actually think the Diamondbacks will be the team that competes with the Dodgers for the NL West.
Can you cut his
at this
mic?
point? Hey, listen, I'm trying to be nice here. Right? I'm trying to be accommodating. I'm trying to be open-minded here. Listen, I've been a Dodger fan since I was 7 years old, so I think I've got some street cred. But seriously,
street cred.
I got my street cred, yo. Anyway, see, this
couldn't sound whiter right now.
This is what I thought. Hey, home fellows, this is what I am a gangster as well.
I just the parts of town that are not safe, just stay out of those. Just I would highly recommend, because like on site, I don't know if you're safe.
That's true. That's true. That's true.
Just I'm worried for your safety, Neil.
Very true. That's awesome.
Booze and Raiders says, "Don't worry, Keon. I feel your pain. I'm a Raiders fan. We haven't went through the Molson '83. I was born in '79. It's been many years of hoping and praying. Go Raiders!" And like the Raiders are one of those teams I like to root for. I like to root for all the teams that have struggled because I just understand that fan base and I understand what's going on there.
You feel their pain.
The Raiders were number 2 on that list, by the way.
Yeah, and
they were ahead of you.
And again, like not surprising that they were like in the top 5. Definitely surprising that they were worse than the Commanders, though. Just I guess
I guess 215 losses. Commanders had 202.
I think what happens with the Commanders is every now and then they've got seasons that trick you into thinking that this is a real football team before collapsing, not kind of, but just in the worst way.
Yeah.
So they're either 500 or they win 2 games. It's just there's not a whole lot else. There's not a whole lot of variance in that.
That is sad.
Ray says the Keon Rose Show is the best name for your new show, Keon. Simple, straight and to the point. It will also give you a boost when your show inevitably gets picked up by ESPN to go after Pat McAfee.
Wow,
I appreciate the kind
let's
words
set the
there.
bar really high.
But
shall
yeah,
we?
let's just throw the bar to heaven. Apparently, like that's
Wow.
how am I supposed to clear that, man?
When you get that call, can you let us go? with
Yeah,
you?
exactly. The next text is going to be, I can't wait for you to surpass Dan Patrick. Like
Yeah,
that.
right.
Good grief.
Lord.
Jim Rome.
Look,
Jim Rome. Yeah, exactly.
Thanks for believing in me, Ray, because I don't believe in me that much. That's crazy that you do. Scratch Me Because says, just curious, who is winning pitcher of this? Who is the winning pitcher of the Celtics versus Lakers World Series games?
No, it was
Neil will know that.
no. He hit a 3-pointer, and that's why he scored the field goal. Boy, I was
a little basketball going on.
Oh, that's good stuff. Basketball was fantastic. Yeah, that's awesome. That was like what did I say last week?
Who knows?
I made some. Yeah, well, let's review the tape, shall we? It was some non-sec. That's just how my brain works.
Yeah, that's what it is.
So Haruto says, thank you, Mr. Romano, Mr. Lynch, and Mr. Rose for answering my questions. Mr. Romano, you're right. Winning 120 games in baseball today is nearly impossible. But if there's any team that can do it, it's this Dodgers team.
I do agree with you, but I think, Haruto, it'll be next year. I think next year when Ohtani's on the mound, that is a possibility because I think they'll be so much better than they will be this year, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I didn't even think of that. I mean, we've got a couple years with this core group pretty much.
Oh, yeah.
So that's weird though to talk about it.
We can't talk about it. It's Arizona sports.
Big George, do you understand the backhanded nature of the compliment you have just delivered to Neil here? Why
Here we go. Bring it on.
Big George says, I'm liking this Neil guy. His analysis seems to be spot on about the Diamondbacks competing with the LA Dodgers for the division title. Lots of wisdom in his gray hair. Why did that come up? Why did you?
Because it's really gray.
Oh, my hair is so great.
It is, but you don't have to say it.
It's almost like he dyes it gray, but he's had it gray since he was like 20.
So what happened was when was it Cooper Anderson, whatever his nose is on CNN.
Oh yeah, Cooper Anderson.
Yeah. Cooper Anderson, when he started doing it, I was like, I have to dye my hair was jet black. And I'm like, no. I've had my hair has been gray since in like mid 30s. So I don't even hear those anymore. Like,
I've been thinking about getting dreadlocks, but I don't know.
I think you should.
Good luck. What it would take for you to have locks, if you can actually pull that off, best of luck to you.
I could pull it off.
Like in terms of actually like
Ralph
growing it out of your own head, like not just using the wig that they gave you when you went to a Dodgers game once.
He uses just for men, just on the top part of his head, not on the bottom half,
and nothing else.
So he has the gray beard.
So let's see here. Berg says George is a true super fan, but I think second in the Daily Blender Super Fan Hall of Fame would be this guy. The Berg was first. Berg, why are you talking about yourself in the third person? Berg also says, Keon, more alligators, less sports. It's good. You're going to have to be a whole lot more subtle with the derailing because you're going to have to be more subtle about it. Look, we're up against a break here, but we've got a whole lot of more text going on in the text line. So we'll come back. We'll clean those up. And then finally we will talk some NFL free agency. Damn it.
Maybe.
Maybe not say definitely because the fourth dimension, they're on it today. They are hell bent on making sure that we never talk about just about anything going on here. The Berg says not subtle here. No, we noticed, Berg. We have noticed. So this is the Daily Blender here on 1580 The Fanatic.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same, but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online? Go to hims.com/joy. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, and the process is 100% online. To start your free online visit, go to hims.com/joy. That's HIMS.com/JOY.
Hey, Ralph, got another solar question for you.
Okay, but did you check out the Harmon Solar podcast first?
The what?
The Harmon Solar podcast. We put new episodes up twice a month that teach you all the things you ever wanted to learn about solar. We discuss things like how solar works, the roofing, sales process, demand management, everything solar.
Show like this needs some real smart thinkers, huh?
Well, yeah.
So you got some really great guests then, huh?
Almost every show.
Is it on Spotify?
Yep.
iTunes?
Yep. Just search it everywhere. It's the Harmon Solar podcast. Go check it out at harmonsolar.com.
Come join American Furniture Warehouse and see our amazing deals on sofas, sectionals, recliners, bedroom furniture and mattresses, dining room furniture and accessories. AFW has the latest styles, largest selection, and lowest prices anywhere. Our warehouses are full and ready for you to take your new furniture home today. At American Furniture Warehouse, you'll find the perfect items for your space at a price you'll love. Visit one of our 3 Phoenix area showrooms or shop online at afw.com. afw.com.
For John's 60th birthday, his family planned to drive down Old Route 66. But the trip took a detour when his wife got sick with RSV. It's a highly contagious virus that can lead to breathing problems and hospitalizations.
This year, we don't want to cancel our plans. We're protecting ourselves with Pfizer's RSV vaccine, Abrysvo, respiratory syncytial virus vaccine.
Abrysvo, a vaccine to prevent lower respiratory disease from RSV in people 60 years and older. It's not for everyone and may not protect all who receive it. Don't get Abrysvo if you've had an allergic reaction to its ingredients. A weakened immune system may decrease your response. Most common side effects are tiredness, headache, injection site pain, and muscle pain. For full prescribing information, please call 1-844-989-7284 or visit abrysvo.com.
So don't wait. Ask your pharmacist or doctor about Pfizer's RSV vaccine, Abrysvo, because every breath matters.
Hi, I'm Ralph Romano.
And I'm Neil Lynch.
We've been friends for over 30 years. And
Wait. It's been over 30 years?
Yep, you are that old.
Well, at least you have one friend.
Anyway, we have a show called The Weekend Warriors, Saturdays at 10 a.m.
We'll discuss national and local sports, and we'll talk about some sports that you don't hear about much.
We'll also interview local athletes, coaches, and sports-related business owners to share their stories with you.
We look forward to sharing these great stories and hanging out with you.
It's The Weekend Warriors every Saturday at 10 a.m. right here on 1580 The Fanatic.
Welcome back to the Daily Blender. We are chugging along here on a Friday afternoon, saying lots, not accomplishing a whole lot, but we're going to try to, I think. We've got some text on the text line to get back to. Hefty Lefty, Stockton Slap, Moist One. So we're going to get to you guys right now. Then we're going to get to a little NFL free agency, which I'm really excited to talk about because I think that the Cardinals are in a really good spot right now to improve this offseason. You've got the 4th overall pick in the draft, so you can address a major need there. You've got a bunch of money in the NFL cap going on with I think they have the 8th best cap situation with the amount of space that they have. So they've got a lot of money to work with, and a giant amount of money because of the amount of eyeballs that were on the NFL this season. And a nice big old bag of cash rolled in for a lot of these NFL teams. So the cap is actually expected to go up 30 million per team. So there are some teams that were absolutely drowning that might be able to get out of that cap purgatory that they're in. We're looking at the New Orleans Saints for starters. The 30 million is going to help them. And then they just restructured Derek Carr to save $23 million as well. So that's good news. They're only like 40 million over the cap now.
Is he still in the league?
He is still in the league. And
well, I guess he went to the NFC South and disappeared. That's why.
Yeah. And he's just as average as you remember. So
okay.
Let's get to Big George here. He said, while Jeffrey and Randy are seasoned pros. Oh, no, hold on. The second text came in here. He said, hey, hold on. George, come on. He says, when Keon passes Dad Patrick, Ralph and Neil can be the Rosettes. And I got to say, no. Why not? You could be on the show. You could be part of the show. We can do a show together. But I always just thought it was weird that you're going to be on a show. You are a grown man and you're a Danette.
I don't want to be a Danette. No.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm not sure if I want to be a Keenan.
Well, here's the thing.
Yeah,
if you pay me enough, I'll be whatever you want.
Whoa, I differ. I don't live.
I don't even want to offer the money to find out. Like if you want to be a co-host, you could be a co-host. I'll call you my co-host. You're not going to be a Rosette. That's ridiculous.
Actually, I would say just rose.
You're just
you can track a larger audience. Rose all day. There you go. That's your new show.
Rose all day. I don't
off the rails.
I just think it'd be fun to be hated nationally. So I just want to be on.
Yeah, that to me is well, I bring Ralph so he could say all the polarizing stuff I don't want to say.
Yeah, I just want to be.
No, when he said that, I started thinking about all the possibilities that would lead to. So I'm like, that's a great idea.
You know, plus you always it'll keep me on my toes because I always have to wonder, am I going to be canceled today? Who can
apologize every day?
That's right. So Ralph did it again. Yeah. So Big George also said, I'm liking. Oh no, it repeated his Neil text from earlier. That's weird. Stockton Slap says, I'm a Cowboys fan. Born in 94. I would have rather been born into the lowest level of India's caste system. Would have been much less painful.
That's super specific.
Oh my God.
Very specific. I know exactly what he means too.
Yeah, look, as much as I make fun of Cowboys fans, we've been in the same boat essentially for 25 years. The Cowboys have looked better in that time. Same amount of Super Bowls. And like, all you had to do was be born, 10 years earlier, Stockton Slap, and you would have enjoyed all the greatness, because that's how I feel about my team. Like, oh, look, the best that the Commanders have ever been, and that is long before I was born. It was just, Doug Williams in the Super Bowl. No, I just got to watch it on YouTube and pretend I was there.
Yes.
The Moist One says, where are you going with this? He says, you're not beating the 2001 Mariners with 116 wins, bucko. And then he also says, Anderson Cooper? And I don't know what you mean by that. Anderson Cooper's name never came up. Who?
Oh, it did.
Did it?
Yes.
We're talking about Neil's hair. I mean, it's
that's right. That's right.
Because they have the gray and the smoldering eyes.
Wow. This is not Plenty of Fish or anything like
that. Yeah.
This is not.
And if you do, the one you want to reel in isn't Moist One, I promise.
That's
Hefty
okay.
Lefty says 120 wins and losing in the NLDS sounds very 2016 Warriors. That's why you don't want to do that. That's why you want to, build slowly, and then if you want to try and go for when you're fully healthy and Shohei's at the top of his ability to perform, if you want to go for it next year. That's why Ralph said that. Scratch Me Because says, is Neil dyslexic? He just called Anderson Cooper Anderson.
Oh, that's right. I did. Oh my gosh. I think I am.
I don't know if you're dyslexic, but I do think that just the words in your mind have jumbled today, because we're crossing sports. We're saying
I know. We're
people's
doing all
names
kinds
in the
of
wrong
things, yeah.
order. Yeah, it's just insane.
Cooper Anderson Cooper. God, that's how long I've thought about him, other than his hair. Yeah, that's embarrassing. I'm gonna have to reevaluate my life choices after this show today, because talking about the World Series.
So is everybody listening.
I'm crossing sports. I'm flipping names around. Like, I'm really sorry. I'll do better next time, Rose Keon. I promise.
Thanks, Lynch Neal. Bruno Baller says, while Jeffrey
Lynch Neal is more of an act than it is a name.
That's a good point.
I appreciate that.
You know what? I responded with that before I actually thought about it.
That was
my brain. My brain had not processed all of that.
Well done.
Look, well, okay, I won't say that. Bruno Baller says, while Jeffrey and Randy are seasoned pros, that can't be replaced. I'm liking this refreshing change to the blender. You guys are doing great. Well, look,
thank you.
Appreciate the kind words. Henry from Jamaica says, big ups, Keon. You're doing your thing. Keep it up. What's up, Neil? Love your style. Ralph, the fourth dimension's favorite punching bag. Thanks, Henry.
Yeah, thanks.
Yes, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Mr. Wilbur spelled my name with more letters than it has. He says Rose Keon, and then he spelled it Keahn.
That's awesome.
Wow, that is I've never seen that version of that. Can you have White Randy pour a drink? Oh, that's right.
White Randy.
That's right. He's at home resting. Yeah, Randy's recovering. You just went ahead and took the entire week off. So I'll leave that to people above my pay grade, but also
well, Mr. Wilbur, how
there's
do you know
some
he's
names
white?
that there's some names that should not be reversed. That's what I'm learning today.
Oh,
Lynch Neal,
Lynch
White
Neal, and White
Randy.
Randy.
I would
Yeah.
love to have a shirt that says Lynch Neal. And I know a perfect picture to put on it. Absolutely.
Oh my goodness.
It'd
This
be a
is so
Hangman
great.
picture. That'd be funny.
No.
Okay.
Lynch
Never heard that one before.
I love that. I've never even thought about that.
I've opened up a box of worms today.
Yes, you have. Pandora.
I am sorry. Chief Skull says, "Holy moly, the new guy's all over the place. He's going to talk MLB and use bowling next." So,
oh, that's a great idea. I'm totally doing
Chief
that.
Skull, don't give him any ideas, please. Swave Dave says, "I feel your pain, Neil. I'm getting old in my dyslexic age!" Exclamation. He typed out the word exclamation, by the way. I don't know.
No, it was voice to text, and his voice to text was dumb and actually spelled it instead of actually putting an exclamation
That
point.
makes sense. Yeah. 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 I don't use the voice to
defended you.
text. So
You're
there you
logical
go.
dyslexic. Good job.
So the Swave Dave, Neil's backing you up. Big George says the question. He says, if you reverse my name, sorry, the question is, does Neil? No, I'm not reading that, George. I'm not
Cooper
reading
Anderson.
That sounds very cavemanish. George Big.
Yeah, he said if you reverse my name, it would be George Big. Sounds like a stripper name, George.
I don't know,
What
stripper?
What stripper named George Big have you ever heard of in your life?
All right, everybody, put your hands
That's
together for George Big.
Whoa, he's got a lot of hair.
Oh, we need to get this thing back on the rails.
There's no rails anymore. They're
There's
gone.
no rails, but at least get it. Can we get it next to the rails? Can we at least get it somewhat close to the train station? Is that
I'm
possible?
ready to talk NFL free agency. So
Me-
whenever you want to get to that,
Me
Are you,
too.
Do you really? Are you sure?
I'm trying to get to the text line and clear through it, but we just had a bunch of text roll in. I'm trying to get to everybody. Scratchy Because says a box of worms. It's a can of worms. What is happening today? Oh no, that's you know what? I just realized like sometimes I just twist around analogies for my own.
I like it.
My own-
Pandora's can, a box of worms.
Pandora's can.
It's perfect.
Yeah, I don't know. I mix analogies because I think it's
Why
funny,
are you talking about Pandora's can?
and I am just oh no, there's a reference there that just flew over my head. Mr. Wilbur says Romano Ralph sounds like an Italian salad. Maybe.
Should see my lettuce.
Pierre, you're gonna have to hold that thought there for a second because
I can't read it.
well, yeah, because I got to put it in the translator and it's
Ooh
gonna
la
take too
la.
long, and so like we'll get back to you on the other side of the break. But before we get to all of that, because we still have some time in this segment somehow, even though we've wasted 90% of it. I have so many notes here. Like, why did I prep for this show today?
I told you, throw them away.
Yeah, it just you did mention that before the show that I wouldn't need any of this, and you were correct. All right, we'll try. So all the teams, $30 million in cap space, and I think that the thing for the Cardinals, when you look at it, and again, if you want us to talk about your team, what should happen in free agency with them, go ahead. Give us your thoughts. What do you think your team should do? Well, we can go back and forth with that as well, because we know we got Niner fans, Ravens fans out there. We'll talk everybody, but we're going to start with the Cardinals because Monty Ossenfort said something that I thought was really interesting, which said he wanted to be aggressive in free agency, and I know that with Keim when he was here, he would talk about being aggressive in free agency, and then he wouldn't actually do it, or he would go after players in free agency that never really seemed to pan out or never really seemed to be a particularly great fit for what the organization wanted to do. And when I look at what the Cardinals need this free agency, I think that their biggest need is a number one wide receiver. Like they need a lot, but like you got to prioritize stuff. So I think a big wide receiver, like, and I think that that's maybe not a free agency thing. I think that's a draft thing because you can get. There are a ton of wide receivers in this draft, and then of course when you've got the number 4 spot, everyone's expecting you to take a receiver because all of these quarterbacks are expected to go 1, 2, and 3. And yeah, I think you take Marvin Harrison Jr. and don't think about it. But if you have an opportunity in free agency to address the wide receiver room, like I don't see a problem with getting deeper. for instance, or figuring out what kind of receiver you need to go after, because you could get Marvin Harrison Jr., but if someone says, hey, we want to trade up to 4, it's draft day, maybe New England doesn't take who you think they will, maybe Washington doesn't take who you think they will, or even Chicago, then your number 4 spot might become all of a sudden very desirable, and teams are going to want to move up to go get that. So you may not be in a position to get Marvin Harrison. If you trade back, you'll get more picks, and then maybe you're looking at a guy like Malik Neighbors. So it might help to go in free agency and get another person to go out there and make that wide receiver room a little bit deeper, whether you get Marvin Harrison or anybody else. I think the Cardinals also need to look at defensive line. That was a major issue. I thought that there were times where that defensive line overperformed, but at some point you've got to be able to stop people from running the football, and the Cardinals just couldn't do it. You're allowing 4.7 yards a carry, which is second worst in the NFL. You're tied with like 2 other teams for it, but still not great. And that needs to be addressed right away. And then I think the Cardinals also need a lot of help at corner as well. So we're going to get to what those potential players could be, right? We already talked about Marvin Harrison Jr. We're going to get to some of that on the other side. We will clean up the text line and give you more opportunities to take this show away from anything I want to do. Apparently, that's just the nature of what's going on here, because we've got a loaded text line. We've got Ray, Swave Dave, Scratch Me Because, the Raven Kid, Big George, and of course, a text I need to translate from Pierre. This is the Daily Blender here on 1580 The Fanatic.
I'm getting vaccinated with Prevnar 20, a Pfizer vaccine.
So am I, because I'm at risk for pneumococcal pneumonia.
If you're 19 or older with chronic conditions like asthma, diabetes, COPD, or heart disease, or are 65 or older, you are at increased risk for pneumococcal pneumonia. Ask your doctor or pharmacist about Prevnar 20, pneumococcal 20-valent conjugate vaccine. It can help protect you against pneumococcal pneumonia in just 1 dose. Even if you've already been vaccinated with other pneumonia vaccines, Prevnar 20 may help provide added protection. Prevnar 20 is approved for adults to help prevent infections from 20 strains of the bacteria that cause pneumococcal pneumonia. Continued approval may depend on a supportive study. Don't get Prevnar 20 if you've had a severe allergic reaction to the vaccine or its ingredients. Adults with weakened immune systems may have a lower response to the vaccine. Side effects include pain and swelling at the injection site, fatigue, headache, muscle, and joint pain. For full prescribing information, please call 1-855-213-2138 or visit Prevnar20.com.
Here's Collins ahead to Miller, and Miller reverses it up and in, and he's fouled. Holy moly!
Join the action at Desert Financial Arena and catch Sun Devil men's basketball as the Devils take on Washington Thursday, February 22nd at 7 p.m. and Washington State Saturday, February 24th at 6 p.m. Get your tickets today by calling 480-965-5812 or go online to sundeviltickets.com. Sun Devil men's basketball. Onward to victory.
For John's 60th birthday, his family planned to drive down Old Route 66. But the trip took a detour when his wife got sick with RSV. It's a highly contagious virus that can lead to breathing problems and hospitalizations.
This year, we don't want to cancel our plans. We're protecting ourselves with Pfizer's RSV vaccine, Abrysvo, respiratory syncytial virus vaccine.
Abrysvo, a vaccine to prevent lower respiratory disease from RSV in people 60 years and older. It's not for everyone and may not protect all who receive it. Don't get Abrysvo if you've had an allergic reaction to its ingredients. A weakened immune system may decrease your response. Most common side effects are tiredness, headache, injection site pain, and muscle pain. For full prescribing information, please call 1-844-989-7284 or visit Abrysvo.com.
So don't wait. Ask your pharmacist or doctor about Pfizer's RSV vaccine, Abrysvo, because every breath matters.
ADOT's I-10 Broadway Curve Improvement Project is in the works. It's an 11-mile stretch of Interstate 10 between Loop 202 and I-17. When complete, your travel time through the area will be reduced. Access to Sky Harbor, retail centers, and colleges will be improved, and the region will be able to better support a growing economy and more. Keep up with the project and traffic updates at i10broadwaycurve.com and stay ahead of the curve. This message is sponsored by the Arizona Department of Transportation.
So, what's your favorite thing about sports? The excitement, the action, or the 5-meat pizza and the six-pack?
Bingo. That's what we thought.
1580 and 99.3 The Fanatic, and always on at 1580thefanatic.com.
Welcome back to the Daily Blender here on 1580 The Fanatic. I'm being joined by Ralph and Neil from the Weekend Warriors every Saturday at 10. And we have been attempting to talk NFL free agency for the last hour. We did a little. Right, we talked about the Cards and the cap situation, what they need. I'm going to go through some players that I think the Cardinals should probably go after, or that I'd like to see them try to go after, and maybe some guys that they should avoid because it's maybe not a good fit or the timing's not great and all of that stuff. But let's clean up the text line and see if there's any time to talk football on the other side. Ray says, if you reverse my name, it's the same. That's the beauty of having a name so good, you say it twice. Touche, Ray. Touche. Scratch Me Because says, the Cardinals' biggest need is human growth hormone for their quarterback. Well, that's not how human growth hormone works. It doesn't make you taller. Scratch Me Because.
He's a little guy there.
Yeah.
Well, I always think they need somebody who, if you're talking about wide receivers, they need somebody who Kyler can see, and then somebody who can play Call of Duty with him. That's what I think.
I think actually we need fewer people who can play Call of Duty with Kyler.
Okay. I got
so that he will play less Call of Duty.
Right.
But definitely a big target that makes it easier for Kyler to just throw the ball to, just look downfield. Hey, look, there's a jersey I see. Just chuck it, because he's got a deep ball. Look, he's got a good deep ball in his game. It just and I don't. For me, I'm not even knocking the guy for his height. They play out of the shotgun a bunch, and I don't think that necessarily is the biggest problem. Like if he was playing under center, then sure, then that becomes a giant issue. But they play mostly out of the gun because of his height. So I just I'm not really that hung up on Kyler's size, but I do think a lot of his game is him improvising and making stuff up as he goes. And the moment somebody gets open, he's just got to be able to see it and fire it.
Right.
And it's hard for them to draft a really good offensive lineman because all the good ones are tall, and they look at him and go, "No, we can't get you. He can't see over them." So what they should do is go draft 5 Oompa Loompas and then put them in front of him. He'll feel like a big guy, and then he'll see over them.
Look, NFL talent evaluators are like, I don't know if I should draft this guy. He's 6'1", because those guys can't see over either. Like you're
like can't see.
Yeah, but I just
4'11", 350 pounds. I'd be like some of your ex-girlfriends, man, dude.
Whoa.
Oh my goodness. What?
It's only one. She was 4'11", and I think right now she is about 355 pounds, which is why she's an ex.
There you go.
But yeah, no, I just think with Kyler and what the Cardinals want to do, it's get him on the move and get him out of the pocket. So like getting a big receiver is important. I as much as I like Marvin Harrison Jr., I almost like Rome Odunze a little bit bigger because he's just enormous. But
he's getting a lot of talk. Yeah.
And it's not that I think he's better than Marvin Harrison. Like I still think that if you have the first pick and Marvin Harrison's on the board, you just take him. But I do think that Odunze is like a basketball player out there, that he just boxes people out, and there's really not a whole lot of people competing with him at the catch point when the ball's thrown his way. So I don't know that Kyler, first off, I don't know that Kyler needs to be taller. He can't get taller. So you just work with what you have.
Want to? He could.
And that's fair.
That's an attitude problem.
There is a surgery out there that you can use to add 4 or 5 inches to your height.
Oh, that's for height?
Yeah.
I knew you were going to do that, Ralph.
And that's the reason why I said height. I know this show.
Well, I know Jeffrey had one of those surgeries. I was just curious.
But they have to break the bones in your legs and regraft it, and then you have to rehab for 2 years. It's not great. So I don't think you want to wait for that.
For me, on all honesty, I'm not a big fan of using that high of a pick on a wide receiver. I understand how good Marvin Harrison Jr. is. I'd be all about beefing up the offensive and defensive lines with picks like that. That's just me. I think you can't get enough good offensive or defensive linemen to build a team. That seems to be the recipe for these teams that win Super Bowls. They have those lines, right? And they draft them, they build them through free agency. You can get look at the Chiefs. Do they really have a high-end, top, big money receiver, a bunch of them?
Yeah, but if you have
know what I mean?
Patrick Mahomes, like I think it's different. When you've got Mahomes, you can get away with not having.
Well, look at the Ravens.
That's the other quarterback. Like there's a handful of quarterbacks where it's like you can get away with not having the best receivers because of what Lamar Jackson can do as a runner. I think they can get away with it a little bit more. I don't think you can build your team and think about what the Chiefs and the Ravens are doing, because unless you think Kyler can be as influential in a game as those guys are.
Oh no, I get rid of Kyler first off. I mean, me.
Yeah,
I think that's their biggest mistake.
Smallest. Yeah, but this current regime, I think that they're gonna roll with Kyler because you reset the clock when you have to. The moment that you draft another quarterback or go after another quarterback and start over, that's when ownership is looking at you like this is completely yours.
Right.
So if you can make it work with Kyler, nice. But if you can't, you need to show that first before you move on, because you're just buying yourself more time to at least build your team.
Yeah, what you're saying is they're leaving him in there as a scapegoat just in case it doesn't work.
I don't even think it's that. I think because part of it too is when they're showing up right now, the worst part of Kyler's contract is literally this year. It's the $37 million hit. And then every year after that, it actually goes down. And then 2 years from now, there's a team out in the contract. So if he's really not playing well, you can just, get out of it. You don't have to make it that crazy. So I don't want to knock these guys for having Kyler and trying to make it work. They weren't the ones that drafted him and then paid him.
Right. I think if we're sitting here next year talking about the Cardinals' top 5 pick in the draft, something needs to change.
Yeah. Especially if they add talent at those particular positions. If they add corner and D line, if they go out there and add wide receiver, that stuff is going to help Kyler. And if it still doesn't result in more production on the field, more wins in that column, then that's going to be an issue. And then you start looking at QB1 and trying to figure out whether or not he's the future of your franchise,
which is a shame.
A little bit more
this
closely.
is the year to look at QB1 in the draft. It's a shame.
Yeah, it's completely loaded.
This is where you want to do it.
You could in the second and third round, you could probably find a guy that if you coach him up, if you get him, on the bench, just in a film room, in the gym at the NFL level, like there's some of these guys that we're going to see probably a little bit later on that really jump onto the scene. And this is the year.
Guys in this draft that are solid.
But I agree. It's one of the more quarterback talented drafts that we've had in a really, really long time. So let's get to the text line here. Mr. Wilbur is saying something that I'm not sure makes any sense, but let's go. Is it Ranger Dan and his big dog? Mr. Wilbur, I can't read that. I'm sorry. What are you saying? Why are you saying that? Why? None of those words can be said on the air, Mr. Wilbur. None of them.
Well, he can't say
that. Swave Dave says, I think the Lions could use a little help on the offensive line, but they definitely need to build up their defense, and they could be a contender, Charlie. So I'm guessing the Texas speech tripped you up there at the end. But yeah, no, the defensive line for the Lions needs some help because Aiden Hutchinson, guy I like watching a lot, but he's out there by himself.
Yeah, he's by himself. He's solo.
And I see what the Steelers have been able to do with TJ Watt and getting him help on the other side with Highsmith, and then I look at Aiden Hutchinson dying alone in Detroit, just trying to do amazing things, but he's just unsupported on that line. Yeah, they need help kind of anywhere on that defense. It almost doesn't even matter what position they take. It'll probably help. Elzar of the Mountain says texting is a privilege, not a right. Don't let the players run the team. I hear you, Elzar of the Mountain. I hear you. Flappy Mac says Ralph and Neal. Ha 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 ha. Every time I hear it, I honestly do not understand. I don't. The Raven Kid says Roma Dunze over Malik Neighbors. I don't know if it's an over Neighbors thing so much as a what does your team need? Because Neighbors is just a burner. Like the guy's just fast as hell, and you don't get your hands on him at the line. He's you're done. Like the play's over, basically.
I mean, I'd like to hear from Raven Kid. What do you want? Who do you want on who are you looking for as a first pick?
Yeah, who
What
should
do you
the
think your
Ravens go
biggest
for
need is?
in the first round? But yeah, Roma Dunze, I like for the Cardinals in particular, just because they struggle in the red zone, and having just a big receiver who's just going to box people out. Just personally, I've always been a fan of that, and he does it really, really well. Big George says the Cardinals really need to get offensive line help for Kyler.
Agreed.
That has been the team's need for years, but it's more pronounced with Kyler Murray. If Kyler had decent protection, he could lead this team to the promised land. Whoa! Hold on.
Where's that land?
Go Cardinals. But the team could be a whole lot better with some offensive line help. They already improved it last year. They got Paris Johnson in the draft, and he looks like he's the real deal, heading in the right direction. So that's good news.
Cardinals need a lot of people. They don't need just a couple things.
Yeah, it's not just a couple things,
Right.
but you do it year by year. So it's
Exactly.
not like every position
they're
group
years away.
isn't available all at once. And well, yeah, I mean, that's if you thought you weren't years away, you wouldn't have fired the coaching staff you had. So
Well,
yeah,
that's where you're really gambling with this quarterback, because if you're years away and you start building around this guy and he's not doing anything for you,
but
I
don't know that that's necessarily a gamble. Like that's a real way you can build a team is say, okay, we don't know what we have at quarterback, so we're going to look at that, examine that, and then as we go through the process of rebuilding our team, building up the offensive line, if we find somebody we like in the future, say Kyler just has a year that's so bad, you're once again a 4-win team, but you've been building everything else. Now you're in a position you can take a quarterback and actually plug him into a team that's already constructed, as opposed to whatever the hell it is that happened to Bryce Young in Carolina.
I mean, I'd be beating on the Commander's door saying, "Hey, man, we'll give you Kyler for the number 2 pick."
I mean, the thing with the Commanders is the time to do that would have been a year ago. I think they would have jumped at it a year ago. And the Cardinals chose not to do that. And the Commanders now with the number 2 overall pick, I don't think that they feel like they have to negotiate with anybody. We could just take our guy. Why should we take your guy?
Take your guy. Your guy's going to be taken when you go pick.
I mean, it depends on how they. Obviously, you have to plan for the position you're in. I would love Caleb Williams. I would. I really hope the Bears
That's
are
where
stupid
he
enough
should
to
go.
take Drake May, but or the Bears are willing to trade off the pick, which is the other possibility that's out there.
I was going to say, I can't wait to see Ralph in a Chicago Bears jersey.
It'll never happen.
Because that's what's going to happen.
I hate the Bears.
Yeah, but you
You hate
love
the-
Caleb Willem.
I love
Williams.
Caleb.
There
Are
I go
you messing
again
up
with
again?
I know.
I love William Caleb.
Caleb's Willem Dafoe.
I think I'm having a stroke induced by the show. That's what I think's happened. Good grief.
Understandable. There's a degree of whiplash going on.
I
today.
want to see Caleb Williams in a Commander's uniform because I think that's where he belongs.
Look, he's a hometown kid,
right? Exactly.
So I like that, and I just like the way the guy plays. Like he's really smart, and he's. I think that because our offensive coordinator is Cliff Kingsbury, you need a quarterback who's gonna do stuff off schedule.
He's only gonna last a year.
I hope one of two things happens. Either it's just a year and we move on, or that focusing just on the offense and nothing else will give him the ability to make adjustments throughout the season. Because we've seen the hot starts out here in Arizona when he was the coach. Like they'd start off hot, then everybody in the league would figure out all of the stuff he spent the summer working on. And then there'd be no answers to it. They just fall apart every year. Like at some point, you just have to go. You got to have adjustments. You got to have a counterpunch to whatever it is that people are adjusting to. And I'm hoping that if he winds up being the guy that's there long term as the offensive coordinator, focusing on just the offense and not having to be the head coach and address the whole team and pretend you care about defense. Like I'm hoping none of that stuff is the stuff that pops up. So I had planned to get to a little bit of Caleb Williams talk. Maybe we could do that next, but the way this show is going, I don't know.
Look, you're lucky you got it mentioned at all, to be honest.
Yeah, because that was actually one of my last notes. I'm going to pull that up a little bit because I just have a feeling like we're not going to get to anything particularly deep, but that's okay because
this next hour is going to be lit.
You said it. The Jeffrey O'Brien Memorial Hour.
That's right. That's right.
So we're coming up to the end here. We've got a couple of texts rolling in on the text line. A couple of thoughts on the Bears, Caleb Williams, NFL teams. We'll get to it. 1580 The Fanatic.
I'm getting vaccinated with Prevnar 20, a Pfizer vaccine.
So am I, because I'm at risk for pneumococcal pneumonia.
If you're 19 or older with chronic conditions like asthma, diabetes, COPD, or heart disease, or are 65 or older, you are at increased risk for pneumococcal pneumonia. Ask your doctor or pharmacist about Prevnar 20, pneumococcal 20-valent conjugate vaccine. It can help protect you against pneumococcal pneumonia in just one dose. Even if you've already been vaccinated with other pneumonia vaccines, Prevnar 20 may help provide added protection. Prevnar 20 is approved for adults to help prevent infections from 20 strains of the bacteria that cause pneumococcal pneumonia. Continued approval may depend on a supportive study. Don't get Prevnar 20 if you've had a severe allergic reaction to the vaccine or its ingredients. Adults with weakened immune systems may have a lower response to the vaccine. Side effects include pain and swelling at the injection site, fatigue, headache, muscle, and joint pain. For full prescribing information, please call 1-855-213-2138 or visit Prevnar20.com.
Hey everybody, Mark Asher back to tell you about my great friends over at the Lund Mortgage Team. You know, the Lund Mortgage Team has been doing their thing for over 2 decades in the Valley, helping thousands of people in Arizona save money on their loans, get the best rate. They're mortgage brokers. They can shop it around for you. And now more than ever, it is so important to have a mortgage professional that's been around, that's seen the high rates, low rates, everything in between, because look, there's no sugarcoating what's going on right now. The rates are higher. However, the supply and demand, the whole how many houses are for sale in Arizona and what's going on, it's gone in favor of the buyer now. So if you're going to buy a new home, it is important to go and get that rate. Whatever that rate is, it's not going to be your forever rate. That's important to think about. So lock it in, get the house of your dreams, and move on. But let the people at the Lund Mortgage Team do their job. All the heavy lifting from start to finish. They'll find you the best rate out there. Call 623-875-9940, 623-875-9940, or online, lundmortgage.com.
Come join American Furniture Warehouse and see our amazing deals on sofas, sectionals, recliners, bedroom furniture and mattresses, dining room furniture and accessories. AFW has the latest styles, largest selection, and lowest prices anywhere. Our warehouses are full and ready for you to take your new furniture home today. At American Furniture Warehouse, you'll find the perfect items for your space at a price you'll love. Visit one of our 3 Phoenix area showrooms or shop online at afw.com. afw.com.
80% of youth in Arizona don't drink, smoke, or use drugs. Want to know the reason why? It's you. Kids say not disappointing their parents is one of the main reasons they choose not to drink or use drugs. Visit talknowaz.com, because while you might worry you aren't getting through, you are. Keep it up and stay up to date about the latest Arizona drug trends at talknowaz.com. This message is sponsored by the Substance Abuse Coalition Leaders of Arizona.
KQFN Tempe, also transmitting on K25CD Phoenix at 99.3 FM
and K240 Rolling Hills at 95.9 FM.
It's time for the third hour.
People settle down because it's time.
For what? Showtime.
When does it start?
Right now. 3, 2, 1.
Let's get on with the show. Let's do it.
Welcome back to the Daily Blender. Here on 1580 The Fanatic. We are live in Scottsdale, last hour of the show on a Friday afternoon.
The Jeffrey O'Brien Memorial Hour, as we're now starting to call it now.
You decided to call it.
He's still with us. He's still with us. He'll be back Monday. But really, for now,
I know that Jeffrey, he wanted to do the Jeffrey Memorial Golf Classic. While he was still alive,
I wasn't that
obviously.
far off.
But his wife does not want him to call it that. So there will be no Jeffrey Memorial Golf Classic because she doesn't want to think of him dead, obviously. But he's like, but I'm still here. I just want it to be called that because, you know, why have a golf classic named after you and then you don't get to see it?
You get to enjoy it, right?
Have you seen Jeffrey play golf?
Well, no, that's not. So, by the way,
Jeffrey doesn't play golf. He just wants it named after him.
I think I figured out the problem with me reversing words and stuff and getting things mixed up. If you see my shirt here on the video,
Wow.
That's pretty jacked up.
It says touchdown,
That's
and
his
there's
home
a
run.
golfer on it.
You just messed your shirt up. It says home run.
Your shirt says home run.
Oh my God! See, I
See?
can't get that right. It's so bad. No, I do have, in my defense, I do have a touchdown shirt that has a football player, and I have a home run shirt that has a. Oh my God!
Dude,
I'm just gonna stop
stop
talking.
talking.
I'm done. I'm
Just
timing myself out for 5 minutes.
I'm starting to realize what the problem is. You need to get rid of these shirts.
Yeah.
They're confusing you.
I am confused.
Please
I'm
don't
just-
take your shirt off.
I'm
not-
gonna
yes,
stop
to be-
talking
to be
for
clear,
5 minutes.
Later, when you're not on camera,
You
get
think
rid of the
Jeffrey's-
shirts.
You think Jeffrey's white? Look at this dude.
5-minute timeout.
You put these two guys together, you can see
Neil-
them from 20
Neil
nautical
put himself
miles.
in timeout. Just- oh boy! All right, let's
You're
get
in
to
timeout?
let's
Okay.
get to the text line while Neil is in a 5-minute.
He's in a
He
5-minute
put himself
timeout.
in the penalty box. I've never seen that before. It'd be like if you just check the bleep out of a guy, and before the referee could even blow his whistle, you just go over to the penalty box and have a seat. Don't even worry about it. No, I know.
He
I
needs
was
to be
wrong.
there. And there's a lock on that box. Don't come out.
Don't come out.
Well, think about it
No,
next segment.
Neil will be back in. I know it's self-imposed, so hopefully 5 minutes. Big George says, just wait until the Bears start winning with Caleb Williams at quarterback. Ralph will jump on the bandwagon faster than a jackrabbit on a date. I've never heard that one. And
A jackrabbit on a date.
I'm from Texas, and I've not heard that one. That's new to me.
I will be pulling for Caleb, no matter where he plays. I really like the guy. So, yeah, I mean, if he goes there, they will eventually win with him. Whoever gets him will eventually win with him. So,
yeah, I can't imagine that they don't. It's
He's
just
too talented,
he's,
man.
yeah, he's like, I don't know if he is necessarily like the generational prospect people, put him on the pedestal to be, but like he's clearly the best quarterback in this draft.
I think he is. And I think when you get a hold of his arm, you're going to see this guy throw some balls. His arm strength is sick. Absolutely sick.
It is. And like, I hate to do it. Because people do this to young quarterbacks all the time where you compare them to, the best guys in the game, but there is a Mahomes quality to the way that Caleb Williams plays.
Absolutely.
The ability to make some of these bizarre off-platform throws that you're trying to understand how the hell that's even happening. And he makes it look easy. Like that's the part that really stands out to me the more I go back and watch the film.
SC's offensive line last year was basically made up of paper mache. And he was unbelievable with that line in front of him.
Yeah.
The things that he did and how he had to move around was unbelievable. If he had a real line in front of him last year, different SC team.
And that's the other part of his game that actually reminds me a little bit of Mahomes is the way that he's able to. He made that offensive line honestly look better than it was. And so like when you look at Mahomes, a lot of the stuff that people thought about him, they said he couldn't play on schedule, he couldn't play within structure and all of that stuff. But like the offensive line was never good at Texas Tech.
Right.
And the defense was worse.
Yep.
So he was always having to play hero ball. And I think Caleb got into that last year because USC didn't have a good defense and the offensive line wasn't good. But he knew he could, throw on the Superman cape and make stuff happen. And he ended up playing, I think, more hero ball, which makes you look worse in the long run.
Yeah.
Because you do have to take risks that if you played behind a good offensive line, you wouldn't have to. Or if you weren't down 14 because, you led the team down on a scoring drive and then your defense just wasn't able to stop anybody all day. And so now you're down 2 or 3 scores. Like, yeah, you have to play some hero ball. It's either that or just lose, which he's not wired to do. So I don't know. I'm a big Caleb Williams fan. I really like the guy.
I hope your Commanders find a way to get him. I really do.
Yeah. The thing is, if the Commanders like him that much and the Bears know that, I don't know how much you give up to go get him. If you have to give up a first rounder and a bunch of seconds, just do it. Just go ahead and do it. Don't even think about it. But if they're asking for multiple first rounders, that's where I'm like, okay, we need to be able to build around the guy. And if you take all of the picks, it's gonna be a problem. And I don't want the Panthers issue for my team where you got a guy that's not as talented as Caleb and Bryce Young. But I think Bryce is talented, but there's just nothing there for him. There's nothing there at all. Slow-Mo Zo says, do you think the Patriots should draft a quarterback or Harrison if he's there? I think you guys take a QB, man.
You have to.
Look, if you can find a way to jump up and you can get Caleb, I would do that too. but it's going to be harder to go from 3-1 than 2-1. So I think you stay there and then get what's left of May and Daniels if you like it. And then if they don't, then yeah, you could take Harrison.
But who's going to throw him?
But yeah, so at that point, I would just trade back, honestly, and try my luck with like Nix or Penix or one of these other quarterbacks.
Yep.
And then maybe depending on where you get to pick again, you might have a chance to make a move for Malik Neighbors, make a move for a Keon Coleman probably going near the bottom of the first round. So like there are options for the Patriots there if there's a quarterback there that they don't like. But if like Drake May falls into your lap, you just go ahead and do that.
Yep.
Jaden Daniels, I like Jaden Daniels a lot. I think there's a lot to his game to really love, but also he's thin. He's thin and he takes monster hits. Like he just gets obliterated. I was watching a clip of him that somebody posted on Twitter the other day, and it just looked like a cartoon, the way he allowed himself to take a hit that was absurd. And it's like, okay, you take that in the SEC, that's bad. You take that in the NFL, you're dead. So especially at his size.
He needs to wind up with a team that has Russell Wilson, so Russell Wilson can teach him the art of evading hits. Because that's one thing he did his whole career. He never put himself in a position to get killed. And if those two could team up for a few years, I think that kid could really learn a lot and be amazing.
Yeah, even though I do think Russ also has a more solid frame. So when he does get hit.
But he was tiny when he got in.
But yeah, so with Jaden Daniels, that's my only concern. So if the Patriots were to get him, you just have to keep an eye out for that. Like you're in a division where like teams like to hit the quarterback.
See, that would make sense. Patriots, go ahead and draft him. And then go ahead and sign Russ as a free agent because you're not going to pay much for him. And then let them work together for a year or two.
It wouldn't be that bad.
Why not? Right?
It wouldn't be that bad. Like Russell Wilson at this point is the best bridge quarterback you can get, especially if you're bringing in a mobile guy. Because it's just being able to play the way he does. Having that as a mentor would be great for a guy like Jaden Daniels. Chief Skull said, I just figured it out. Neil looks like Newt Gingrich. Holy moly. That is.
Wow, you kind of do. You're back from the penalty box, so welcome back.
Thank you very much.
I don't see it.
Gingrich. I can kind of see it. I've been
well, you're
the
white.
big very okay. you get talk about as much. I'm darker than you, Ralph. Just so
I don't.
you know.
Whoa.
100%.
You and Jeffrey are in the same light because you guys are exact. You're almost. It's ridiculous how white you guys are.
It's just
shouldn't
funny.
be allowed.
The way that the cameras are set up
It's
in
the
your
lighting.
guys' setup.
The lighting makes it.
the lighting is making Ralph look more pale than
The
Neil.
one,
Right.
the celebrity that I've been told I look like more, and it's less obvious now because I don't have the big hair coif, is Conan O'Brien. That's who I used
actually,
to be.
when you had a lot of hair, you did look like Conan.
Yeah,
People
so-
thought you were Conan a couple times, actually. That's true.
Yes, because they didn't know any better. They'd never seen him in person, knew he was 6'4" or 5 or whatever. So yeah.
He's gigantic. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Newt Gingrich, huh? Okay. Could be worse.
So the Raven kid said, I think the Ravens should be targeting a cornerback or an edge rusher to fix somewhere. We just had a stopgap guy last year. The corner thing I think is big because the way the Ravens want to play is we don't want to send 5 or 6 guys on a play. We'd like to send 4 and then force you to read what's back there. And they, find different ways to trick you and deceive you. I wonder if they're going to still be that way without Mike McDonald. I was going
to say, they're going to lose some players too.
Yeah. I mean, there's no getting
we're
around
going to
it.
become Seahawks.
But like the Baltimore finds a way to land on their feet defensively. So I'm not too worried, but yeah, that's, in free agency, I'm sure they're going to be able to find talent as well because I just think defensive players like to play for the Ravens. They just have a reputation of being a great place for defensive players to go. Yeah. So that's just the culture of that team. It's going to help them in free agency, and then in the draft, they always draft well. So yeah, not a whole lot to worry about there. But I do think that's a really big area of concern. Anybody specific, Raven kid, that you'd like the Ravens to go after? And he also said Jeffrey will be back Monday. Dang. I love how hectic this show has been. Yeah, we didn't do it on purpose, Raven kid. We did not do it on purpose.
We definitely tried. I didn't realize the The dyslexia is strong with this one.
Well, yeah.
Good grief.
It's just
That's embarrassing. I'm embarrassed for myself, and I consider myself pretty easygoing, but good grief.
it's been a whole jumble of words there for
It's
you.
just
yeah.
it's not good. Yeah. I'm Ralph, I promise I'll be better tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean,
Slightly better.
It's like you're talking with a bunch of jelly donuts in your mouth or something. It's just really weird.
Jelly donuts.
That's true.
It's true.
They are good. Yeah, you just got me distracted a little bit. Swave Dave says, what about calling it the Jeffrey O'Brien Memorabilia Golf Classic? I mean, that's true. So
that's
you're-
interesting.
So you're
Who wants
very
anything
close.
signed by him?
An event like no other. The Jeffrey O'Brien Memorabilia Golf Classic.
Plus, like you'd have to be able to get through to him to get anything signed by him. By that I mean Jeffrey does not like mingling with people generally. So it's just he doesn't look. The fourth dimension, that's always fun. The draft parties, we always have a blast. But like Jeffrey at the Phoenix Open and just like the masses of people, he's not happy.
No,
doesn't like being in large crowds of folks. And I get it, by the way. I understand it fully.
You know what he's like? He's like Johnny Carson, because Johnny Carson was the same way. He was fantastic on the show, had great interaction with the guests, but outside of it, he didn't want anything to do with people. He had a very small group. So I'm equating Jeffrey O'Brien to Johnny Carson. You're welcome, Jeffrey.
He was pretty white too.
Big George says, just like my grandpa used to say while shuffling cards, thin to win. Same applies for Jaden Daniels. I don't know what that would mean in that context, Big George.
Thin to win.
I don't get it. Yet he is thin, but like he's going to need to add some muscle or he's going to die. I am concerned for his health and safety in the National Football League. If he goes to the NFL draft combine and he weighs in at like 210, no, that's scary to me.
I mean, what did Bryce Young weigh?
Just oh man, I don't
really
remember off
thin,
the top of
too.
my yeah, he was. And I don't know why they waived and gave him the pass on durability. Maybe because he's just not as much of a runner.
Yeah.
Like ultimately Bryce Young wants to throw the football, so his size was not an issue. But like with Jaden Daniels, yeah, Jaden's gonna run.
Right.
And if you just see Jaden in the open field, as much as he's fast, he's really fast, but he's not Lamar Jackson. He does not have that ability to kind of put guys in the blender or break somebody down in the open field. It's straight line speed. So if he gets into a head-on collision with any safety in the NFL, like he's going to be Anthony Richardson, but faster. It's going to be like game one and it's all done like that. That's where I'm worried about it. Cause I legitimately think if he ends up on the right team and he gets to put a little weight on, he can be really good. But he needs to be in the right situation. And if he's not playing, you can ask Trey Lance how easy it is to fall behind when you're not playing football because you're hurt all the time. Ray said, I think Neil looks like Santa Claus vacationing on the beach in Cabo during the summer. You know, he'll be growing out an epic beard here soon to get ready for Christmas.
That's good. I like that. And the problem with that is I cannot grow a beard. I can't grow facial hair at all.
Me neither.
So I appreciate the sentiment. And I think I would have a really good looking beard if I could grow one.
The most I have managed in my life is like a half decent mustache, and I just gave up on the thing. Like
Meanwhile, Ralph, he shaves 5 minutes later. Boom, it's back. Hey, full beard. There you go.
Only real men can grow beards. Just saying.
Suffering A's fan says Ravens probably sign Chase Young. Honestly, it would be the best fit for him because he needs somebody to like kick him in the ass. Like he's so talented, but he's not the kind of person who is willing to go out and hustle on his own. Like that was the reason why Washington traded him. Honestly, he all the talent in the world, but rather than have to figure out whether or not they're picking up that fifth-year option, just let him be somebody else's problem.
You know what makes me happy? You know who the Niners are going to sign?
Who are the Niners going to sign?
Nobody, because they have no money. They have less than $1 million.
Well, hopefully the $30 million for them helps them out a little bit.
With the $30 million,
but that's still
$842,000.
That gives you the chance to sign what, like,
and they got to pay for
3
Purdy
players,
here soon,
maybe.
too. Right? Remember, they got to pay Purdy.
Yeah, so you can't take up too much space there.
They got to start losing people.
Yeah, they have some capology issues in
Yeah,
San
they're
Francisco
gonna have to
for
start
sure.
The Raven Kid said, I think Patrick Queen is definitely going to be a Seahawk, sadly.
I do too.
He priced himself out with how much Roquan is already getting.
Looking forward to seeing him in the Seahawk uniform.
Yeah, and I like Patrick Queen, but honestly, Patrick Queen is the kind of player that the Ravens love to draft and then just replace him 4 years later. Like, this is
true.
That's just how they roll. But yeah, like, it sucks because the guy is just legitimately fantastic football player.
Yep.
But with Roquan, like, if you had to choose between Patrick and Roquan, you just choose Roquan. Like, he's more important in that linebacking group. Scratch Me Because says Jeffrey is rolling over in his grave after listening to today's show. Jeffrey is very much alive, not rolling around in any grave. Now he might be driving somewhere and
rolling his car,
shaking his head,
going punching his steering wheel, just going, what mistake have I made?
Why did I let Ralph bring Neil onto this? That's pretty much what he's saying.
Talk him into this.
Mr. Wilbur, I disagree with that. Just disagree with that entirely. Not reading that because A, I don't agree, and B, I like having a job. Chief Skull says the 70s pattern sound block at Ralph's is killing me. It should be orange shag.
In your background.
He's commenting on your background for some reason. I don't know exactly.
Those are sound absorbing panels.
Yeah,
so you don't get
to
now. Let's be fair though. Orange shag carpet did have a lot of sound absorbing properties as well, especially in high school. In the back of your van with the bubble windows. Do you remember that, Ralph?
I do remember that.
But
it's none of your business.
Bow chicka bow bow.
But the sound blocks, absorb the sound better though. So you just
that's true.
Makes more sense. Tioa says, either way, okay, hold on. What? I missed a couple of texts there. Going back, this is a preview. This is a preview of the Keon De La Rosa show. Not calling it that. Or the Keon Rosa de Guadalupe show. Again, no, not calling it that. I'm not actually asking for names, you guys. It's
sponsored by Taco Cabana.
I mean,
sponsored by Barrio Queen. Or Barrio Queen. I gotta get the trill in my R's.
If I could parlay that into getting some free backyard taco, then we can.
Then you're good, right?
Yeah, we could actually make that work. He also says, either way, I like it, except for Ralph, of course.
Wow.
Oh my god.
That's right. You know what you can do with your rolling R now, right?
Oh boy. Rye Guy says, why are you guys hanging out with the Shriners kid over there trying to describe his shirts? Oh god. Oh my god.
Ouch.
Why did you do that?
Ouch. I deserve that.
That's so mean, Rye Guy.
It's a mean, but I deserve it. That was brilliant.
I don't think anybody deserves that. I'll be honest with you.
I've been called many things in the show, but never a Shriners kid.
Yeah, Rye Guy. He has a family. Come on.
My goodness.
The Moist One says, can't wait to buy a Queen Seahawks jersey. Would be cool if they got Darius Slay too. Slay Queen.
Wah, wah, wah. I saw that one.
I didn't see that one coming, and you know what? I appreciate it. For an edge, I'd love Chop Robinson or Dallas Turner, maybe even Jared Verse. At cornerback, I'd love either Arnold or McKinstry from Bama or Lassiter from Georgia. Okay, so first off, I am potentially the biggest Kool-Aid McKinstry fan in the world. I just think the guy is a lockdown corner. And can do it at the next level, and it would be scary if the Ravens had that. It would be horrifying. Chop Robinson would be a really good pick. I like Jared Verse a little better, but honestly, it's those are the collection of edge rushers that just depends on the scheme a little bit. But McKinstry, if they got McKinstry a corner, that would be absolutely insane. We've got a couple of texts here, so we'll go ahead and clean that up. We'll go to break and come back, and then we'll wander to this JJ Redick and Doc Rivers beef that's been brewing over the last few days. And I just think that I think JJ Redick is 100% correct, but we'll talk about it on the other side. Ray says Neil has such a nice voice too. He has a voice that belongs on radio. He would be perfect on NPR doing Fresh Air, all things considered. Ray, at least
things considered with Neil Lynch.
That's almost too accurate.
Everybody.
Where's Lynch Neil?
with Lynch Neal and the Shriners family.
No. Eye Candy says, "Hi, Mr. Rose. With the way Mr. Lynch scrambles words and the way he looks, it reminds me of Joe Biden." He doesn't
Wow.
He doesn't look like Joe Biden.
I've only heard that 321 billion trillion billion quintillion times.
You don't look like Joe. You just talk like him.
Well, you haven't seen me walk yet either, so there you go.
Oh, Chief Skull said the Keon Cruz show, which I don't know. Cruz as in CRUZ, which that's not my name, so it would just be really weird for me to do that. Also, pick a picture of what I assume is Chief Skull's dog, and lovely dog, Chief Skull. Lovely dog. So we've got a couple more texts. I'm not going to continue to read these as these trickle in. Otherwise, we'll never go to break. So we've got JJ Redick, Doc Rivers, and the last of this set of texts on the other side. And then we're going to start to get ready to close out the show here in a little bit. You're listening to the Daily Blender on 1580 The Fanatic.
This is Brent Musburger's action update on 1580 and 99.3 The Fanatic. Get insights into the sports betting market with VSiN's betting splits. See where the money is and keep updated on how the market is reacting. Only at VSIN.com. Now, here are the latest lines from my guys in the desert.
The UConn Huskies, the betting favorite to cut down the nets in Phoenix for the NCAA Men's Basketball Championship. UConn at plus 500, while the Houston Cougars are plus 750. Purdue, who was outed in the first round last year by number 16 Fairleigh Dickinson, is plus 750 to cut down the nets. Arizona, who just lost to Washington State Thursday night, plus 1,400. The Tennessee Volunteers, the best bet out of the SEC to win the championship at plus 1,400, and North Carolina plus 2,000. South Carolina women are the best bet to win the national title. The Gamecocks at plus 100. I'm Tony Desiri with your VSiN Action Update on 1580 and 99.3 The Fanatic.
I wish I could get this stupid jar open.
Jars can be tough, am I right?
Who are you? And how'd you get in my kitchen?
It's me, Flo, and I'm here to grant your wish of easily switching to Progressive and helping you get a discount that honors the time spent with your previous insurer.
Great, but what does that have to do with getting this jar open?
Nothing.
So you can't open this?
Oh, I just do insurance. Jars, I leave to the professionals.
Sign up for Progressive and opt into more savings. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Not available in all states or situations.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-8695. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. There is zero risk to you. If we can't reduce your tax debt, then you pay nothing. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have a 5-star rating on Google and Yelp and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-8695. That's 800-575-8695. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
It's not just a job. It's shaping the heart of our city. The City of Chandler's Public Works and Utilities Department is the driving force behind our city's success. We invest in you with continued training, benefits, and a supportive team environment where career advancement is in your future. Learn more at jointeamchandler.com. Be a part of something bigger. This message is sponsored by the City of Chandler.
The Valley of the Sun will roar to life this spring.
This ought to get pretty wild here.
Why is that, you may ask? Because NASCAR is coming to Phoenix, and it's going to be a weekend of good vibes the whole family won't forget. The best-in-class fan experience meets racing's toughest drivers for 3 days of action on and off the track, all surrounded by the beautiful Estrella Mountains. NASCAR weekend at Phoenix Raceway, March 8th through the 10th. Get your tickets now at phoenixraceway.com.
What's up, everybody? Nick Costos here, host of You Better You Bet, reminding you to check out the show. Now, why should you check out You Better You Bet? Because we bring you the most fun. We bring you the most insightful, the most entertaining show in the wagertainment world. From up-to-the-minute breakdowns of backdoor covers, bad beats, and the cheers and tears that come alongside them. Plus, you'll get the best betting analysis anywhere from myself, Ken Barkley, and some of the best minds in the sports wagering world. So tune in weekdays, noon to 3 on Arizona sports betting station, 1580 and 99.3, The Fanatic.
Welcome back to the Daily Blender. 1580 The Fanatic, Keon Rose, Ralph and Neil from the Weekend Warriors, and we're doing something that resembles a radio show. I can't really.
It's close.
It's close.
Yeah.
This is All Things Considered. Today, we'll speak with the hosts of the Weekend Warriors.
Wow. That made me feel dirty.
You are way too good at that. That's
1-800-NEIL.
1-900-NEIL. Operators are standing by.
Dude, stop.
So somehow you made it weirder than it was. Which
Thank
is,
you. That's what I do.
You and Moist One need to get together.
Oh boy, here comes. Here's Moist One.
Yeah, there you go.
No, Moist One. I can't read that. I just can't read that.
Oh boy.
I mean, it's funny, but I can't read that. What? This is a radio show. Mr. Wilbur says, Keon, did you mention anything yesterday about how Alabama fired their longtime play-by-play announcer for football and basketball? That's cold. You've been an SEC fan. You have to have some thought on that. I actually didn't know that. Yeah,
I did not either.
I didn't know he was fired. I thought he walked away, but I guess I could be wrong.
Yeah, so that's something I'm gonna have to look up, Mr. Wilbur. I actually didn't know that. I've been more in draft stuff lately, and then trying to learn another Nationals baseball team as we head into spring training. Just another group of guys I do not know. So that's been my focus. So no, I didn't see that news at all. So what happened, Mr. Wilbur? Let us know. Big George says, this is interesting. Moist One has some insightful analysis. Well, it's the thing with Moist One, isn't it? Oh, when Jeffrey is not around, while Jeffrey is on the show, it's all dirty talk all the time. I disagree, Big George. Moist One is clever. And what he'll do is he will say a bunch of insightful things in a row. And then the next thing you read after that, because he's gotten you into a false sense of security, is the dirtiest possible text. So you've got to stay on your toes when you read his text, because if you don't, you are going to get fined and fired and canceled all at once. Just going for the triple threat.
He just kind of slips it in there.
I'm sure.
Wow, I'm sure Moist One was proud of that one, Ralph. Nice job.
And I'm sure he's got a response to it as well, which is just I'm not looking forward to it, but it's coming. Oh no, damn it. No. Moist One, no.
It's like you're talking to a puppy. No.
Seriously.
No. Down, Moist One, down.
I just got to warn him in advance that don't even do anything with that, sir. Nothing. So no, Big George, I strongly disagree. The Raven Kid says the Ravens with McKinstry, Humphrey, Hamilton, and literally anybody at the other safety spot would be nasty. And it would. I don't know how you would throw against that. It can't be fun. I'll say that. Chief Skull says straight fire. The Shriner Kid text was the text of the day.
It was. It's the text of the week.
I agree.
Yeah, it might be the text of the month. I mean, it's just that's the funniest thing.
I've heard some bad things on this show, but I've never heard someone call the Shriner.
No. And we've all been insulted in a variety of ways. I've never had that as an insult at me either. That is, ooh.
It's next level.
Tiwa says, Keon, I'm down to make y'all some carne asada in celebration of your show. Just let me know when and where. I'll even throw Rainy City Bitch Pigeons fan a bone. And
well, thanks. I appreciate the bone.
So there you go. You'd get some carne asada as well, Ralph. Sure. I don't know. We can figure it out. Mr. Wilbur said, all I heard was that he has been the voice of Alabama football and basketball for well over 30 years. And the gentleman is 70 years old and recently had a battle with cancer. And for some reason, they decided to fire him. Yeah, if it was just no reason at all, just out the blue, I
gotta look that up. I really thought that was a thing where he was just leaving.
Yeah. So I didn't know about that. Gamecock is also weighing in on that. I pre-read it and I don't. Fired. Yeah, no, I'm not reading that.
He was fired after 36 years, saying his performance was no longer adequate for the job. That's
wow.
Cold.
That is cold.
Probably because he was switching words around.
Well, if he was doing that, he had it coming.
Not a Shriners kid.
Well, he'd be perfect for this show then, apparently.
You know that's your nickname now. You're
I'm trying to figure out because now we have we have lower standards than Alabama radio, and I just I don't like feeling good about that. I don't know how to feel about that.
Can't believe they fired him.
And Gamecock, I'm not reading that. See, Jeffrey's not here, so you think if you send a text, if you send a text with a pun that's also a dirty word, I'm going to say it and get myself fired. Yeah. Why would you do that?
The FCC is still here.
Yeah, just play nice, Gamecock. That's all I'm saying. Play nice. So JJ Redick and Doc Rivers have been going back and forth because JJ Redick he doesn't mince words. He pretty much says exactly what he means. He doesn't sugarcoat things, and he didn't necessarily have a great relationship with Doc Rivers. And so when Doc Rivers said some of the stuff that he said earlier in the week about, pick a thing. At some point, Doc Rivers has just got to stop talking. He was, talking about how hard it was to take over a team in the middle of the season. He was talking about how he didn't ask the Bucs to hire him, and he told them that he didn't think that was a great idea. Like there was a whole bunch of excuses about how and why his start with the Bucs have been incredibly slow, and the some of these games where they just look like they're being, quite frankly, outcoached. Like there's just no getting around it. They don't look like they know how to counter other teams. They seem to be not clear still at this point in the season on what to do defensively. And so JJ Redick called them out. Just all the excuse making. It's always been this way. Doc Rivers doesn't take responsibility for things, and he blames literally everybody else around him. And then Patrick Beverley jumped into it and basically said, you're being ungrateful and all of this stuff. And then Doc Rivers fired back at it too. But ultimately, I think what it comes down to is that's what JJ Redick's supposed to do. Like that's his job. It's his job to be that direct. It's his job to be that clear. And by the way, like people who are saying it's a personal thing, like even JJ said it, it's personal because he played for Doc. Of course it's personal. Like he's not saying this as somebody who's never been around Doc Rivers, never been in a locker room that Doc Rivers has had to coach and lead. He's saying that as a guy who's played under him, that it always seems to never be Doc's fault, no matter what has happened. And that's to me, like that's the big takeaway here.
Are you agreeing with? Do you feel like he's correct, JD Redick?
I do.
I do too. I think he's 100% accurate because he even made the point that when something good happens or like there's a good trade or something, that Doc Rivers would take credit for it, and that's true. He does.
Yeah, Doc Rivers got fired from LA, got a job in Philly, and got fired from Philly, and somehow tried to like take credit for James Harden winding up in LA from Philly, and he wasn't there. Right. It was, and if things had worked out, they'd both still be in Philadelphia. Yep. So how are you going to take credit for that? Like it doesn't work in any way. And I do think that people saw all of that and then just got hung up on the drama side of it. Yeah. Of like, well, then now you've got to pick sides of who's right and who's wrong. And I agree with JJ 100%. But like the ultimately what he did, he didn't get personal in the sense that he didn't say anything about Doc's family. Mm-mm. He didn't say anything about Doc's religion.
He didn't call him a Shriner kid.
He didn't do that, which would have been which would have been the quote of the day in addition to the text of the day. But no, he did his job. And I think that's what's being lost in this is it's genuinely shocking and surprising when we have some of these guys in the sports media, especially the national media, actually do their job. Like actually watch the games, actually break it down, actually know what's going on. And that becomes a huge story. I'm genuinely kind of mad about this because we should expect more people to be more like JJ Redick and less like, you know, what we've come to expect out of First Take, you know, the that other show on Fox Sports 1. Like these shows have just turned into guys sit across from a table and yell at each other. And we've just accepted that as this is how we take sports in. And I honestly, I think it's partially ruined sports conversations. You know, like the GOAT conversation. I remember being a kid in barbershops growing up and how fun those conversations used to be, because, you know, like you'd have a bunch of guys, you know, arguing about, well, who's the GOAT. At the time it was like Jordan, and then you know, people would mention Bird and Magic and Kareem. And then as I got older and LeBron came in the league, it was Jordan and LeBron, and then Kobe got thrown into the mix too. But those conversations used to be fun. And somewhere in all of the yelling, we made it a business, and they're not fun anymore. Like if you don't just say that guy has more rings, therefore he's better, conversation over, then you don't even have like a conversation to have. And I like that people have different opinions and you can go back and forth on stuff, but you can only do that if you actually know what the hell is going on. And JJ does. And I think it's pretty clear like how much care he puts into what he's talking about. The fact that like he, you know, on his podcast, he'll break down different players, he'll break down different teams and what they're doing as far as scheme and how, you know, spacing is being affected by taking a player that's normally maybe a wing and having them play guard, or having them be the point guard and bring the ball up the floor, and what that does and forces different teams to do. We don't even get to talk about that stuff because we're talking about Doc Rivers and JJ Redick basically going back and forth, because JJ Redick accurately said about Doc Rivers exactly what Doc Rivers is.
I feel like we just got a preview of your Saturday show.
Yeah, that pretty much is what it would sound like.
You were not interrupted and you went through your point.
Well, it was also insightful and intelligent. And actually, you talk about the tenor of sports talk, right? When I was thinking, just on a side note, when I was thinking about doing the show with Ralph, that's something that I mean, I know he wouldn't be like that, but the thought of that kind of crossed my mind, because in general, these sports shows have become all pretty much the same. And a lot of it has devolved into stupidity. So the fact that you called that out, I thought was insightful. Actually, I mean, I'm being serious right now. I thought that was insightful. It was good.
Thanks. It's something I think about a lot. Like, it's just a thing that to me is we fall into the trap every day. Like some new thing will happen in the news cycle, and then it will be talked about the same way every time. Somebody gets arrested, there's like one way we talk about it. If somebody asks for a trade, there's one way we talk about it. And it's a loop. Like it just seems like, especially the national media, because it's just so rinse and repeat. They just do the same thing over and over again, but you could just swap out the players. Where's the interesting in that? Where's the fun in that?
There isn't.
Yeah,
exactly.
And the thing is, like, I go on YouTube, I go on some of these other platforms where there are people who are willing to sit down and break down the X's and O's of a game, for instance. And I think that's what fans want. Like, I honestly think that actually talking about the sports and not just the drama, you know, we don't need to make this like the Lifetime version of everything that's going on. Actually talking about the games, actually talking about the players, actually talking about playoff scenarios. Like, that stuff is supposed to be interesting. Like, that's the ESPN I grew up with. Right. It's not even close to being that anymore.
It's like the version of Tony Romo as a broadcaster where he was predicting the plays, not the version we have now where it's, here we go, Jim.
Yeah.
Whatever he says now.
Here we go, Jim.
I always, like you said, I as a casual sports fan, I want to feel slightly smarter after I've watch something like that. So like watching like the old NFL Live or shows like that where, yeah, like you said, they break down the all 22 and they show you routes and stuff, or hearing about Brett Favre talking about the play he called and the fact that Antonio Freeman and Andre Rison had switched spots and it was Rison in the slot instead of Freeman, but he threw it like that kind of stuff, that insightful. And obviously there's other things that impact the overall tenor of the game. And there are the dramatic issues and, you know, personality clashes, like the whole John Gruden thing, which I don't think we've heard the end of that. But yeah, I totally agree 100%. I think it's having this. And by the way, this is what you'll get when you listen to Keon Rose on what's your show called again? Totally Uninterrupted.
Without interruption.
See, I didn't even know.
I told you, Saturdays just got better.
Whatever your show, whatever it is, without interruption is going to be intelligent, insightful sports talk. There you go. I'm your agent.
Right after the chaos of the Weekend Warriors.
That's right. After the Weekend Warriors talk about, you know, club softball and how Team Hustle beat the Arizona Storm last week.
Oh God, we're not talking about that.
No, we're not.
No, I'm excited, you know, to be able to talk about that. And no, you guys do not have a chaos show. I'm looking forward to that wrestler interview.
No, it's a good show.
Yeah, it's a really good show. You guys have really good guests on. And it's one of those things where like I learn a lot listening to it.
I think what we've done between the two shows is we've done different.
Yes. Yeah, and like that's part of it, right? You play to your personality and what you do well and the connections that you have and all of that stuff. It all factors in and it all matters. So I just the thing that I got the most out of that thing with JJ Redick is that there is a way that we can talk about sports that's just upfront and honest about it, that like we can acknowledge, you know, some of the drama going on. I don't think that you need to take that stuff out, but that can't be the show.
Right.
Correct.
And I think that JJ Redick on First Take is the reason why people like him when he's on there is because he cuts through the drama of it all. And then just he's trying to stop what's inevitable on that show, which is just that it just devolves into shouting and name calling and all of this stuff that it doesn't help the product in any way.
But I do have to admit that I do kind of enjoy when Stephen A. Smith goes on TikTok and just tears down the Cowboys.
But it almost feels like TikTok is the place for that, not a prime time 3 to 4 hour show in the morning as people are getting ready for their day on the largest sports network in the world. You can do that on TikTok or a podcast or YouTube or whatever. Like there are avenues for you to do like your outrage stuff.
Yeah.
I just don't want it for 3 hours.
Well, there's a certain dignity or je ne sais quoi, if you will, about ESPN. Right. So no, I agree. The decorum needs to change.
So the text line is just lit up now with all of this. So we'll find out what the Fourth Dimension thinks as we wind down. We will get to On This Date in Big George's sports history. And all of that is coming up next here on 1580 The Fanatic. You're listening to the Daily Blender.
I'm Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. I learned about atrial fibrillation the hard way. My symptoms would come and go. Shortness of breath, fatigue. I kept going. Then I got so lightheaded, I couldn't. My doctor said I have AFib, so I'm about 5 times more likely to have a stroke. Other symptoms, irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain can come and go, but the risk of stroke stays. If you have symptoms, tell a doctor. Visit notimetowait.com.
Sponsored by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
Come join American Furniture Warehouse and see our amazing deals on sofas, sectionals, recliners, bedroom furniture and mattresses, dining room furniture and accessories. AFW has the latest styles, largest selection, and lowest prices anywhere. Our warehouses are full and ready for you to take your new furniture home today. At American Furniture Warehouse, you'll find the perfect items for your space at a price you'll love. Visit one of our 3 Phoenix area showrooms or shop online at afw.com. afw.com.
My brother-in-law died suddenly, and now my sister and her kids have to sell their home. That's why I told my husband we could not put off getting life insurance any longer. An agent offered us a 10-year, $500,000 policy for nearly $50 a month. Then we called SelectQuote. SelectQuote found us identical coverage for only $19 a month, a savings of $369 a year.
Whether you need a $500,000 policy or a $5 million policy, SelectQuote could save you more than 50% on term life insurance.
For your free quote, call SelectQuote at 1-800-452-5050. That's 1-800-452-5050. Or go to SelectQuote.com. 1-800-452-5050. That's 1-800-452-5050.
SelectQuote. We shop. You save.
Details on example rate at SelectQuote.com.
For John's 60th birthday, his family planned to drive down Old Route 66. But the trip took a detour when his wife got sick with RSV. It's a highly contagious virus that can lead to breathing problems and hospitalizations.
This year, we don't want to cancel our plans. We're protecting ourselves with Pfizer's RSV vaccine, Abrysvo, respiratory syncytial virus vaccine.
Abrysvo, a vaccine to prevent lower respiratory disease from RSV in people 60 years and older. It's not for everyone and may not protect all who receive it. Don't get Abrysvo if you've had an allergic reaction to its ingredients. A weakened immune system may decrease your response. Most common side effects are tiredness, headache, injection site pain, and muscle pain. For full prescribing information, please call 1-844-989-7284 or visit abrysvo.com.
So don't wait. Ask your pharmacist or doctor about Pfizer's RSV vaccine, Abrysvo, because every breath matters.
This is Brent Musburger. Don't miss Betting Across America, Saturdays at 11 a.m. right here on Arizona Sports Betting Station, 1580 and 99.3, The Fanatic.
Welcome back to the Daily Blender, 1580 The Fanatic, and we are almost out of here. I don't know how we survived. Woohoo!
I don't know either.
Because today was a trip.
It's a trip, all right.
Yeah, we were all over the place. We got to a little bit of NFL free agency, talked a little bit of Cardinals. Was definitely fun to do that. Talked about the Suns and losing to the Mavericks last night and what their potential, playoff run could look like. It's really all matchup based. I don't think that if they had a center, I think that was reliable, they could probably dictate their future a little bit more. But sometimes it's just like, hey, these are the matchups that you've got, and you've got to stay healthy. So we got to all of that. Talked a little JJ Redick and Doc Rivers. And I've got some stuff to get to if we have any show left, but I don't want to promise anything and then we just don't actually do it. So I'll hold on to that and clear up the text line and see what we have going on. But Oily Stool sent a gif of Doc Rivers. It's really funny, but it doesn't translate to radio, unfortunately. So there's not much I can do with it, but thanks, Oily Stool, for that. Mr. Wilbur says, come on, let's get this party started. Jeffrey's gone, so let's play either some country music or some Christmas music. Who's with me? I like Christmas music. I don't like country music either, though. So this is not you're not appealing to the right person. Sad to say. Big George is here to heap even more pressure on me. With some nice words, but let's be honest, it's a lot. He said, "Here, Keon. Bring back the Stuart Scotts of the world," which that guy's a legend. I mean,
that's a heck of a compliment.
But
he was cool like the other side of the pillow.
He was my idol, man. Like I looked up to him so much when I was a kid, and I knew I wanted to be in broadcasting like when I was 12. I just already knew that. So for me, when you see a guy like that and how professional he was, but also just how smooth he was, and he was having fun.
Yeah.
But he always kept it on, the highlights, which I understand we don't do that very much these days, but even in the position when he was more of an analyst, he was still doing a fantastic job at that. And
he was good.
Yeah, I mean, he one of the sharpest guys I think we've ever had in broadcasting, like ever. And yeah, he's missed a lot, and certainly by someone like me, I'm kind of sad I never got the chance to meet him because he inspired me a lot. He really did. Chief Skull said, without interruption, so no Ralph in it because you can't be interrupted. Yeah, it's just me. Nobody else is on the show.
I might text in just to try to interrupt you.
Yeah, I might have a guest or two and something like that. But yeah, I mean, the show is going to be me. And if you like me, that's going to be a fun time for you. And if you don't, I'm sorry.
Me and Neil can stick around in the studio and interrupt the heck out of you.
Yeah, that kind of defeats the purpose. Then it wouldn't be no interruption at that point. It would be quite interrupted with Keon Rose. It would be always interrupted.
Always interrupted.
Yeah. So
I kind of like that.
Which there's like a different alternate version of this.
I think we should give him a chance to get established, and then we come at him. That's what
I'm
I
gonna
think.
throw stuff against the window when you're trying to.
Bam.
That'd be fun.
Keon, I need help.
Lift our shirts and go, Keon.
Yeah, no, that would ruin it. There's no need to do any of that.
I would blind him.
Do it. He'd be blind.
No.
Yeah, I mean, how could I go to break? I can't
Exactly.
operate any of the equipment anymore because I
You would need a
can't
vomit
see.
bag.
Just you're listening to Without Interrupted with that's how that's gonna sound
With Keon and Neil's nipples. Oh
No.
my gosh.
just puking into the microphone. Kenry says, Keon, Neil, looking forward to listening to both of y'all's show tomorrow morning. Ralph, I guess I hear from you because Neil, he's a funny guy.
Well,
Is he in Jamaica?
He's from Jamaica. I think he's here though.
Why don't you go back?
No, he's my number one fan.
He's your only fan, dude.
My only fan?
No, damn it. Randy's chuckle says, and what was that 900 number? Neil with Neil? Is that a prayer show or? Yeah, Randy's chuckle. I can't read the end of that, but that's funny.
It's whatever you want it to be.
It's unfortunate, is what it is. The Berg says Ally McBeal or Ali Sheedy. What?
Ali McBeal or Ali Sheedy? What about him?
Why are you asking?
Well, Ali Sheedy, if you're talking Ali McBeal, you're talking Callista Flockhart. So it's which one do you think's more attractive, Ali Sheedy or Callista Flockhart?
I quite literally cannot imagine either of these people right now.
I like Ali Sheedy, but I had a thing for
that was
the 80s.
that was an 80s thing.
It's an 80s thing.
Callista Flockhart is no. Ali Sheedy, I'm with you. Anyway.
So
Thanks
that
for
is the last of the text line. Let's go ahead and get to on this date in Big George's sports history before I have a 7-foot tall lawyer who's apparently in Mesa coming after me. That's where I live. So yeah, I don't need those problems with Big George. We're gonna get this done here on this date in Big George's sports history. Back in the year 1985, Indiana University basketball coach Bobby Knight, angered by a foul call against one of his players and a technical against himself for yelling and obscenity, was ejected from a game against Purdue for hurling a chair from the bench area across the court during a game in Bloomington. The chair throwing incident became a famous video that has defined Bobby Knight's career as a coach.
Seems like yesterday.
I know. Seriously. I know he's not with us anymore, but yeah, it just feels like a couple of weeks ago he did that.
It's always great because anytime somebody loses their mind and then they go through the reel of coaches who have lost their mind in the middle of a game, the Bobby Knight chair hurling is still the last one you show in that run of coaching incidents because that's the most memorable one.
Do you remember what Big George's moment was yesterday?
Yesterday, I don't know off the top of my head.
Because I know what it wasn't. And George, shame on you. It should have been the 1980 USA team beating Russia.
Right.
That happened in 1980.
That happened
on the 22nd yesterday. So, Big George, I'm very ashamed of you that you didn't bring that up.
Do you believe in miracles?
How do you not make that? Anyway.
Yeah.
That
No.
was unbelievable.
Go Cubs.
Oh, speaking of which, so we have a little thing going on in my neighborhood. So where I live, I put up a Cardinals. I have a Cardinals logo on my address, so that confuses people. But I put up a Dodgers flag in my front yard. So my neighbor across the street, all of a sudden the next day, an Arizona Diamondbacks flag appears, and then the neighbor next to them, a day later, a Chicago Cubs flag shows up. So I think at some point there's a street where I live in Glendale where there's going to be a bunch of sports team flags. So I think I've started something with my neighbors, which is fantastic.
Yeah, that's a nice little trend to get going there.
Someone's going to come
It's-
out. And burn them all.
Well, and also too during football season. But the thing is, Ralph likes these people across the street from me because they are Seahawks fans.
Well, that's
'Cause
the
they
only
had-
quality thing about them.
They flew
Oh.
the. Wow. Okay.
Oh.
Okay. They're not Shriners kids. I don't know.
Otherwise, they're awful people.
Yeah, I know.
I'm gonna get one of those hats.
That is not
One of those Shriner hats.
Yeah. Just know, Melissa, I'm not talking about you or your husband. I promise. That's Ralph. I'll give you his address if you want to go say hi to him.
I'd like to believe they had more sense than to continue listening to this. If you started at 3 and you stayed all the way till now, thank you. Your tolerance for nonsense is higher than anyone could have predicted.
You're
Like
the best fans ever.
scientifically impossible levels of nonsense tolerance going on. So thank you to everybody who participated today. Big George said, Miracle on Ice was my email to Jeffrey. Think you wheel at the worst possible time.
Okay, I forgive you then. That's all Jeffrey's
But I
fault.
send him 14 to choose from.
14.
Oh my God, Big George. The Daily Blender on 1580 The Fanatic.
All right, so there we were.